Hey, what's happening? What's going on with you? We back. Welcome to another week, another episode. I hope we are excited to be here, excited to add some value. Hope you guys had a good week off, time of reflecting, time of thinking, growing, expanding. Hope you made some money. Hope you learned and improved and grasped upon the stuff that was being talked about. Remember, your growth doesn't happen in 3 hours on Wednesdays. That's not where your growth happens. These are ideas and thoughts that we want, hopefully, to ruminate inside you so that you go apply during the week. So, we're excited to get started. Let's start with the first slide. So this first slide is back to basics. This class is back to basics. We going back to basics tonight. On my side, it's not a lot of higher level thought. It's not a lot of new ideas. It's just basic stuff that I believe gets overlooked heavily and is so important. And the reason why it's called basics is because it's the foundation of everything that you need to learn that's in intermediate or advanced. If you don't got the basics down, there's nothing that could be said by anybody that could get you where you want to go if you don't got the basics down. And so there's a lot of things ruminating around our society, you know, from wars all the way to indictments and everything in between. And if your focus is all over the place, or if your ideologies or your feelings are all over the place, it's hard for you to get back to the basics and focus on what you need to be focusing on. Should not, like, it's a saying called mind your own business. Easy. It's hella basic. A lot of times we don't want to hear the basic shit. And the basics is what allows you to flourish and thrive. The basics. The basics. So tonight for us, this first half, back to basics. Some people call it blocking and tackling. Just back to basics. Let's start with basics number one. It's all gravity. So what does that mean? It's all gravity. It's not just a slang term. What it's all gravity means is this. A lot of times throughout life, we complain about the things that happen to us in life. What we've gone through, the pains that we have to deal with, the ups and downs that we have to deal with. And some of us, or a lot of us, move through life being super overwhelmed and dramatic and emotional and shocked by things that happen that's not, that we didn't expect or we didn't like, or that's not smooth, or that's painful, or that makes us unhappy. But the grand scheme of life, it's just all gravity. It's just gravity. And what that means is this. When a baby is born, legs are weak. Can a baby walk at 6 weeks? Why? Legs are too weak for gravity. They're too weak for gravity. So baby starts moving around 4 or 5 months. They see the rest of the world walking. So the idea of wanting to walk starts kicking in. Like, wait, how come I can't? So around 8 months, they crawling now, crawling. Why can't they walk at 6 months? Body's still too weak. Why? Gravity. Now, when baby gets to around 11 months, maybe a year, some athletic babies a little earlier, they start standing and they do a little baby squats, right? They don't know they're strengthening their legs, but why can't they walk yet fully? Gravity. Gravity's too heavy for how weak their legs are. Now, have you ever seen a depressed baby because they can't walk? Why are you crying? Man, this gravity. I just can't do it. This scam. Everybody's walking and I can't. Have you ever seen a baby lose it because they can't walk yet? They just keep trying. They just keep trying to walk. They don't even pay attention to the shit. They don't even got a name for the force that's keeping them down. They don't even got a name for it. They just know there's a force, and my job is to get slightly stronger than this force. So does the average 2-year-old baby think about gravity anymore? They don't, because they got past gravity. Does a 15-year-old teenager, does gravity in terms of walking even cross their mind anymore? No, because they got so strong that gravity is nothing. It's nothing. They get up, walk. There's a gravity to entrepreneurship. There's a gravity to it. You can't just like you can't get around real gravity, you can't get around the gravity of entrepreneurship. This shit is what it is. So you either got to exercise your muscles and get stronger than it, or you get carried your whole life. And there's a lane to get carried. It's called jobs. It's all kind of different lanes to be carried. But you cannot complain about wanting to be an entrepreneur when you can't get past the idea of the gravity that exists inside of it. It's all gravity. And that means anything and everything and a lot of things could happen. Painful things. And our job doesn't mean we got to be perfect or show up perfectly to it. We just have to be willing to process it and get through it and learn from it and get better. But praying, making it go away, it's you want to get stronger just in case something of this similar magnitude happens again. You don't want luck. Now, it happens, but you want to get stronger so that if something of this equal magnitude comes, you have the ability to match up to it. Because can you supersede gravity? Can you? Can you supersede gravity? You can.
Go to space.
It's called the law of lift. The law of lift is what allows airplanes to fly. Now, what a lot of people try to do is say, gravity doesn't exist, gravity doesn't exist, gravity doesn't. No, it's not true. Once you accept gravity, now you can look for the laws that can supersede it. And the law of lift states, if you go at a certain speed and your wings go at a certain angle, you fly. And it's like gravity doesn't even exist. So it's like, how can these people make all this money? How can these people blow up? How can this person be a super successful multimillionaire, billionaire, this, that, the other? You don't run from gravity. You learn, you accept it, and you learn the laws to supersede it, which can allow you to look like you flying and everybody's walking. But it doesn't come from ignoring it. Doesn't come from closing your eyes and saying, there's no gravity, there's no gravity. The reason why everything is on the ground, fixated to the ground, is because of gravity. Know that. Know it. And study it. and learn it and get better from it and work your muscles. And the situations happen and you fall, you get back up and you learn how to navigate through gravity. The higher you fall from with gravity, what happens? The harder that shit hurts, right? Mm-hmm. There's certain nuances to gravity. You can make a paper airplane. And it feels like there is no gravity. So understand, understand that once you accept the gravity of this world of entrepreneurship, then now you can start looking for optionality. Any questions on it? We back to basics. It's a basic. Once you accept that this is all gravity, now you can look for the options, the ways to supersede the gravity that you in. Entrepreneurship is so hard. It's gravity. It's gravity. But my customers is gravity. This happened, gravity. Tariffs, gravity. Angry customer, gravity. It's all gravity. But how well can you navigate and move in a way that you can handle the gravity? Just like that baby who learned to walk. Next slide.
Hold on, maybe turn my microphone real quick. Yo, I know a lot of times we teach a lot of stuff in this class, and I think sometimes, because a lot of us are not processing, we're just looking for knowledge nuggets. I hate that phrase, nugget. It's like, because if you don't process it, it's no use to you. It's like salt in your cabinets. Doesn't because you have salt mean you can cook, right? It's all gravity is so damn. It needs to be something that you run in your mind all the time, because all you hear people doing around us is complaining about gravity. Oh, this, that, Trump, this, economy, this, war, this, immigrants, this, that. This company's closing, that company's closing, COVID, economics, crime. And I think what was so masterful of what you just taught, and I think I'm just saying this so folks at home can really just, if you dual tasking, stop for a second. What you just taught them, it's almost like, you ever go to the gym with somebody and go, I don't sweat? I hate them cats, right? Well, you don't work out either, right?
Right.
And but when you get to a certain point where the person who changes their body composition is the person who accepts the gravity. The person who goes to the gym and wastes their time and will argue with you that it's not working for me is a person who's denying gravity. Mm-hmm. And so I think I really want folks to slow this moment down. And even though you know this is just part of the because martial arts, Master from East Oakland. I remember the first time I met him. He put me into a room and he said, I said, "Oh, my son's in white belt." And I started asking about black belts. He said, "You know what? I'm gonna tell you something about white belts." I said, "What?" All the belts are white belts. You're always revisiting the basics. You don't ever leave the basics. Mm-hmm. And yet, what I felt, well, everybody's so hungry to find that super nugget and realize they never master the basics. Mm-hmm. So they have all the fancy moves when nobody's in a ring. And as soon as somebody get in a ring who just know how to slap somebody, they get their ass whipped time and time again because they don't have the fucking basics. It's all gravity. It's so fucking powerful. Hopefully folks are slowing down. You literally taught, you're going against the grains of popularity right now. That's fine.
Thank you, bro. Next slide. So, sacrifice. I was talking to somebody and I said the word sacrifice and they told me, don't say that. Don't say sacrifice. Like, yeah, that's going to be a slide. And here's why. We'll start with, anybody read the Bible? The Old Testament? There's a lot of sacrifices, right? The way they did it, though, they kill an animal and burn it, and up in the smoke go up to God and say, look, I killed this nice animal that I could have ate and fed my whole family with, but I'm giving this up to you. They sacrificed, right? Even that some were potentially about to sacrifice their own children or certain things, because in the Bible, sacrifice was important. Sacrifice was important. I need to know that you're willing to give up something in order to get something. But in today's time, we don't like that word. We don't like that word. But here's the deal. In entrepreneurship, I'm just going to stay in entrepreneurship because it can go lots of places. The journey of entrepreneurship is full of fucking sacrifice. From the day you decide you want to be an entrepreneur to up to date. So when you were studying and you wanted to go out and your friends called you and said, hey, why don't you come kick it with me? But you had to work on your plan for your business or work on your ideas or ideate. What was that called? Sacrifice. You sacrificed having fun that night for working on your business. When your favorite shoe drop just came out and it was $249 for the latest whatevers, and you wanted to spend that money on that shoe drop, but you needed to buy inventory, or you needed to use that money to invest in your business. What did you do? You sacrificed those shoes for the potential growth of your business. And you've done millions of those things over the course of your lifetime career when it comes to deciding whether or not I want to do this fun short-term thing or this thing that doesn't invest in the growth of my business or invest in the growth of my business. It's a sacrifice. Entrepreneurship, this is sacrifice, whether that's sacrificing some of your freedoms, your enjoyment, a little bit of your sleep, where you want to live, what you want to buy. It's all sacrifice. So if you don't get comfortable with the idea that entrepreneurship comes with sacrifice, then you're going to suffer all the time, thinking you can have it all at the same time. No, you have to trade something in order to get something. Meaning, I want to watch this show. I want to watch this show. I really do. But I have a list of stuff that I have to do for my business. I'm sacrificing the show. I want to smoke, but I got to work on I'm sacrificing the smoke. I want to drink, but I got to work early in the morning. I'm a sacrifice. So that's what this game is. You're trading. You're putting more value. Your investments now are way more valuable. Now, yes, the other side of the coin of this game is calling it a choice, right? To say, I choose to do this. I don't want to do that. I choose to do this over that. So the higher level, you're playing the choice game. But if you want to do something, if you want to do it, and you have to pull back your energy from it to make a decision to go over here, you sacrifice and get comfortable with doing that. Get comfortable with doing that. Because that's part of this game. The basics of entrepreneurship is that you're sacrificing short-term stability and security in some instances. I told you that early in my before I started this company. Like you're literally playing the 99-cent store game. You're playing the okay, I'm gonna pay this bill, not this bill game. When say you got a degree, say you got a master's degree, or say you have hey, you like at my job, I quit my job to start my business. I say, hey, we love you. You can come back anytime you want. So I'm sitting with negative $42 in my bank account, knowing I got $100,000+ job waiting for me anytime I want. That's a sacrifice. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. I'm sacrificing my comfort and the ability to go to the lot and get something nice and maybe cop a house and do all this stuff. I'm sacrificing that short-term enjoyment for my long-term goals. That's a sacrifice, and I know it. I choose this. I saw one of my mentors Sunday, and because that's actually a true story. I had at the time, understandably, my ex-wife at the time was like, fuck this entrepreneurship shit, go get a motherfucking job. Go get a job. This ain't working. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna look for a job. So I applied for a whole bunch of jobs. And I know she be snooping in my email, so I know she see all the jobs I've applied for, and I get a fucking call. So City of San Leandro calls me. So I go to that job so nonchalant, not giving a fuck, hoping they don't call me back. Push my sleeves up on my shirt. And I'm just straight like, yeah, whatever. They call me back. I'm like, fuck. Go to the second interview. It was a written test. I took the test in like 30 seconds. Fucking somehow passed the fucking test. So, third interview comes. So I go and so it's two real stuffy, older white guys. So I'm like, all right, I know what to do with this one. And they say, yeah, we're not the ones that are going to interview you. The people who the people who you're going to be supervising are in the other room, and they're round table interviewing you. I was like, oh, okay. I walk in the other room, and it's nothing but black and Mexican brothers. Raiders jerseys and 49er jerseys. So I walk in and sit down. I'm like, okay, so, who wants to start? So Will raises his hand. He's like, are you a Raider fan or a 49er fan? We go, oh, and then we just have a good ass time in there. So guess who gets offered the job? Me. So 110,000, 120,000 a year. At the time, I'm negative. People are bringing us food. Struggling with my ideas, my entrepreneurial ideas, struggling. So I go to my mentor, and he says, he had the dog and wolf conversation with me without the actual words dog and wolf. And he says, how much time will it be? I said, man, I'm going to be supervising, going to be weekends. And he's like, yeah. I'm not telling you what to do with your family, but that's you're going to be comfortable. You're going to be comfortable. So I know your family needs it, but entrepreneurially, you're going to be comfortable when you're not going to be able to work on your ideas. So I don't know. I wouldn't do it. So I sent the email, thank you, but no thank you. I just sacrificed an animal, the best animal, a bull, up to entrepreneurship, saying, I'm a wolf. And I know, and even if I've thought about it today, you know, the more mature version of me would have probably taken that job for my family's sake, because I have a family. But I'm such a crazy entrepreneur, man. I'm a wolf, man. I'm a wolf, and that's a sacrifice. So understand, it doesn't. I'm not talking about it being that big. Everything, like, you're gonna have to sacrifice, because the path of the norm, the road of the normal person is not on the sacrifice road. It's comfort. It's making things as pain-free as possible. Fucking pain-free. There's an industry now in the medical profession that does it, that's called pain management. Have you heard of that? Meaning, we don't even give a fuck about what's wrong with you. We just want to treat your pain. So where's your pain at? And we're going to prescribe you drugs to make your pain go away, not the ailment go away. We're in such a pain-free world. So understand, sacrifice comes with this game. And you're going to have to do it. And you're going to have to accept the fact that you can't get success without it. I don't know any entrepreneurs that have any level of success that don't have stories that say, I wanted to do this, but I invested in this instead. I wanted this, but I invested in this instead. I wanted this, but I don't know any entrepreneurs who made it without having to do that. Last story. 15 years ago, I walked into a potential investor's house. He lived on Sand Hill Road in Palo Alto. And we were talking. I said, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. So he showed me where the bathroom was. And I'm staring at this painting. It ain't cute. It wasn't a good looking photo. It just looked like some old weird shit. So done, I wash my hands. I go back in. He said, hey, did you? No. Before I went to wash my hands, I went down the bottom right corner to see whose name, and it said Picasso. I was like, damn, this is ugly, but I know it's worth something. Wash my hands, I go back in, and he says, hey, you see that painting? The reason why I have it over the toilet stall is to remind me every time I got to go take a leak that there was a particular time in my life where I really wanted this Lamborghini. I wanted it bad, and I had the money to get it. And it was about $300,000 at the time, and I had the cash to buy it. But somebody told me instead, don't buy that stupid ass car, buy an asset. So I didn't want to, but I did. So I ended up buying that painting. And now that painting's worth $2.8 million. So every time I take a leak, it reminds me to sacrifice my weak ass wants and make the proper investments. And it's game. It's game. Next slide.
Discipline. It's not the specific behavior that's the problem. It's the habit that can result from it.
So this is another basic, a third basic. Just this is discipline. Simple. This is simple, straight up, no filter, no chase, no long words. It's discipline. If you can't develop discipline, none of this shit works. Because sacrifice does not exist without discipline. Because discipline is the action that results from sacrifice over time, a continuous habit of sacrifice. It wouldn't be called discipline if you didn't want to do it. If I brought crack to you and said, hey, smoke this, Charlize. No, I don't want to. Well, you gonna go tell your friends, man, I had to have some discipline. They put crack in front of me. No, it's not discipline if you don't want to do it. Discipline means I want to do this, but I'm choosing to do this consistently. Consistently. And if we don't have it, we got to build it. And building it comes from every single day investing in your discipline, small things, little things, being able to say no to yourself and yes to something else consistently. And if you don't, you're going to get caught slipping. Doesn't mean we have to be perfect, because that don't exist. But what it does mean is you are constantly looking for ways to exercise this muscle of discipline. So in the times where you need it the most, in the crunch time moments, in the tough time moments, in the exhausted, tired moments, you've built this muscle memory within yourself that you do it anyway. That's why we preach, go to the gym every day. That's why we preach that. That's why we preach being consistent at what you do. Because we want you to build discipline. Because it's key to this game. Discipline is key to entrepreneurship. This is the wild. So there's certain elements of this game that you don't get the luxury of being lazy. You don't get the luxury to be lazy. There's certain things in entrepreneurship that if you don't do, it's going to come whoop your ass. And it's nobody's fault but yours. But I was tired. But I was this. But this needed to but this person can't. It just is what it is. Discipline is so necessary. It starts with little shit. What are you doing consistently? What are your rhythms? What are your eating habits? What are your exercise habits? What are your reading habits? Let's start with those. It ain't nothing a motherfucker can say to you that make you hit a home run and now you winning in life. Discipline. You know what one of the eighth wonders of the world is? What they call eighth wonder of the world? Compound interest. You can't have compound interest without discipline. Because you have to be consistent at what you do. Consistency is so key to this. And you can't have consistency without discipline. Again, discipline is saying no to shit you want to do and doing something different, doing something that adds value, investing in something that benefits or advances your life. Nothing moves without it. Nothing moves without it. Now, are there I know in my case, there are things out there that when I get around it, I got absolutely no discipline. So what is my discipline? To stay away from it. That's my discipline. Stay the fuck away from it. I've struck out 14 times trying to have discipline with this thing in front of my face. Nope, I'm not. Now I'm going second order discipline. Stay away from it. Period. Like there is no losing. There's no giving up. You figure out, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. Because if what you want is that important, if what you want is that important to you, you'll find a way. Man, I know some, like, Women are some amazing, incredible human beings. Incredible human beings. And I grew up around all types of folks. A lot of times in the hood. It be the most like you can have the most ratchet female. Be one of the best moms in the neighborhood. Because she has a reason to be. I grew up around some of the best moms to their kids in the house. And super wilding out on the outside of that door. Because they got a reason. And reasons, that's why a lot of times reasons come first. If we don't have purpose or if we don't have reasons, it's hard to have discipline. If you don't got reasons or if you don't have purpose, having discipline can be tough. In our society, we used to have religion too. Used to be church. So you had at the top of the hierarchy an invisible God that was watching you. And you was going to burn in hell if you acting up.
Can I get a amen?
So you had layers of reasons to behave. But in today's society, we lack a lot of that. So now we're left to our own moral compass and our own drive, purpose, and integrity. A lot of times. But don't let the way the world is going, don't let the way the world is shifting, shift your disciplines. You stay right where you want to be. Stay right fucking here. I don't give a fuck if nobody else is doing it. Stay right there. Stay right where you're supposed to be. Building. Because guess what? You're going to look different. On this journey for me, I've always, when I decided to be different, I was comfortable with being different. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I don't give a fuck. When I quit smoking weed, pass them the, nah, I'm cool. Over time, it's like, Gordon, you a square. I'm just a square. I'm just a square. I don't care. I know where I'm going. You eating grass today? I don't give a fuck. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. Anything. I'm whatever you want to call me, fine. I know where I'm going. And what I've built over time shows it. So I speak with what I built. So no, I don't fuck with that. Enjoy. I'll go drink my water. Are there times where I do want to? Hella times. I call it my sacrifice. Hell yeah. When times is tough and times is rough and I'm stressed out and I can't go to sleep, it'd be nice to smoke a blunt. I get a good ass night's sleep. So I want to. That's my sacrifice. Somebody asked me about the cold plunge over the weekend. Hey, you cold plunge? How often do you cold plunge? Every day. I did it every day for a long time. And then, it was you. And she was like, well, after a while, it gets easier. Not for me. I hate that shit every time. It feels like the first time every fucking time, and I hate it. And I sacrifice. Sacrifice being uncomfortable. I'm sacrificing being soothed by warm water. And once you get good at sacrificing and discipline, things open up for you. There's people who trust you with large amounts of money. There's people who trust you with their investment. There's customers who trust you because they know how difficult it is to be disciplined, and they'll trust you with it. game opens up. Game opens up. So it's benefits that come from it. Next slide. Last part on discipline. In the part where it says it's not the specific behavior that's the problem, it's the habit that can result from it. How many tried a diet before? Anybody? Diet? And in trying that diet, have anybody ever said, okay, I'm just going to try this thing this one time? Mm-hmm. And after they tried the thing that one time, that was a slippery slope to get them to fall off the diet completely? Anybody?
Yes.
What that is the habits that can result from lack of discipline. I mean, the habit that can result from discipline is why you do it consistently. It's not the idea that you can or can't have things occasionally. It's the slippery slope that happens when your muscles of discipline is so weak that result in you potentially falling the fuck off. It happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us. So it's not the specific, onesie, twosie, I could do this every once in a while. I could grab this here. Especially if you don't have strong discipline and you build in the muscles, bad idea. Get in a rhythm. Get strong. How many times can you walk at a buffet and just sit there and not eat? See what I'm saying? How can you walk into a room full of smoke and not smoke? How can you walk into a room full of anything that you love to do and not do it? For the sake of what you're pursuing. It's hard, ain't it? Hard as fuck. But it's gravity. So you got to get used to it in a way that you get stronger than it. Don't mean you don't fall sometimes. Don't mean you don't. Does not mean that. It just means for the most part, you got it. You got it. You got it. And if people don't fuck with you because you are not a follower, then fuck it. Fuck it. But your entrepreneurship needs it. Next slide.
Do you have a beautiful obsession? Love yourself. I'm sorry, lose yourself. Sorry, just kidding.
Okay. Basic number 4. Motherfuckers is too cool with this entrepreneurship shit. Y'all too cool. Y'all too cool for me. Y'all fucking too cool for me. Y'all expect this thing. Y'all expect you to put like one toe in and it all comes to you a lot of times. I'm going to put 20% of my brain into this and it's all going to come to me. I'm going to make a couple phone calls today and it's all going to come to me. I'm going to skim over this book and it's all going to come to me. That ain't how this shit works. That ain't how this shit works. You have to fucking lose yourself into what you're doing. You have to lose yourself in it. You have to be obsessed with what you're doing. You can't find the nuanced places where customers are that no one's tapped yet without obsessing over it. You can't find pain points in customers without knowing everything about them. You can't find the depth of what you're doing without completely immersing yourself in it. You can't. You can't. And y'all too cool for me. A lot of y'all, not all of y'all, but most of y'all too cool for me. You want entrepreneurs. You want it to be like 5-95. You meet entrepreneurship 5 and 95 in the rest of the work, the 95% comes to you. That ain't how this shit go. They going ham out there. It is an obsession. You have to be obsessed. You got to lose yourself into this business. You have to. There's telltale signs of people who know they shit. And customers trust people with their money, the people who know their shit the most, who are in it the most. If you had to get heart surgery, right? And you came to me, and I'm a heart surgeon. And I said, yeah, I'm a heart surgeon. I got my real estate license. I'm a Reiki master. I sell t-shirts. I got a liquor store. Let's make an appointment. What would you do? Fuck no, I'm not trust. Versus the guy who says, I'm only a cardiologist and I've been doing this for 26 years, 100% of my time. Where would you go? Some of y'all so afraid of failure that you don't want to lose yourself in it. You don't want to immerse yourself all the way in it because you're scared to lose. You're scared of looking bad. You're scared of failure and all that kind of shit. So you're going to do other things just in case this one don't work. Fuck that shit. You're going to be doing it a long time. I need a trusted advisor. A trusted advisor is somebody who I know has immersed himself in it, lost himself in it. This is it. Man, come on. Like, I need that person. Some of y'all too cool. I'm just cool, just. How come my shit ain't working, man? Like, I'm just, you fucking too cool for me. Too cool for me. It ain't gonna happen, cuz you too cool. Get down and dirty. Learn it. Backwards, forwards, up, down, inside, left, right. The history of it, where it's going, who's in it, who got out of it, who failed, who succeeded. All of it. Customer trends, what the pockets of customers are, where you fit, who you're targeting, the year that things change. Like, know your shit. If you skimming the surface and you confused, man, come on. How do you know somebody? Can anybody give me the telltale signs of somebody of any size, race, color, creed, that when you walk past them, you know that they will beat the shit out of you? Anybody know the telltale signs of that? Cauliflower ear. Fucking cauliflower ear. I know. You never mess with somebody with a cauliflower ear. You know why? That's years of training. That's years. They are willing to let go of the aesthetics of their ear because they lost themselves in this passion of fighting. That's hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of training. You got it, bro. Yep, my bad. Did I step on your shoe? Where's your cauliflower ear? I can't even tell you're an entrepreneur. Where's your cauliflower ear? Where's yours? Where is it? What is it? Like, if not, go get one. Go get one. So that you've immersed yourself in what you do. You've lost yourself in it. I love what I do. There's no limit to the amount of study. I love fashion. I hate it now, but just the way shit is now. But I love it. I'm lost in it. In a way that has given me the opportunity to find pockets that the average person can't see because they too cool. Too busy being cool. This industry is saturated. The surface of the industry is saturated. The cool parts of the industry is saturated. The industry ain't saturated. It was quote unquote saturated when I got in it. The cool parts. But don't nobody want to go down there where it ain't cool, to where the work is, or where the lose yourself. Where's your cauliflower ear at? Like people like you. Could I say it? I'm gonna use Nana. You literally become a different person when you lose yourself in something. So the people who fucking knew you then and know you now are like, who are you? Because I lost myself in what I do. I lost myself in what I do. So of course it's gonna change me. Your cauliflower ear is showing. Like I had my family over Saturday, and so every time I have my family, they talk about stories about shit, how bad Courtney was, and how this and that and that. Like that's not, a person wouldn't even compute that with me. I don't even compute it. It doesn't even register in this version of me. Why? I lost myself in this shit. I immersed myself in it. I want it bad enough to where I'm willing to, 2 slides back, sacrifice any of my old behavior to get it. What I gotta cut off? What I gotta change? Fuck it then. How bad do you want it? I ain't too cool for none of this. Read, we reading then. So, like, this is the foundation basics. Now, a lot of us understand why we ain't got far. And why none of the other shit that we've been learning has seeped down and affected us in ways that we can use and add value, because our basics are so fucked up. That's the literal equivalent of saying, I want to be in the UFC. You ain't got no cauliflower ear. Hella overweight. No cauliflower ear. You just sparred a couple times. What? Immerse yourself. Lose yourself to where now it's evident in you. And every year you become a more evolved person to where you can look back 15 years or 10 years back and you're a completely different human being. It's not rocket science. It's basics. Master these basics. Start with these basics. Practice the basics. Getting a degree is not losing yourself in what you want to do. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not. It's building a level of discipline, but it's not losing yourself. Any questions on that? Next slide.
Curate your environment. A cheetah environment.
Okay. You know what makes it easy to lose yourself? Your environment. You know what makes it easy for you to have discipline? Your environment. You know what makes it easy for you to have an obsession? Your environment. So, second order thinking and third order thinking says, I'm going to put myself in environments that enhance my ability to master the basics. So who do I associate with? I associate with people who push me, who got the similar values as mine. Some are better, some are on par, some are worse, but we all got similar values. Because your environment can keep you in rhythm towards your goal. Your environment is almost everything. And then a cheetah is an example. Anybody know the fastest animal in the world? I'll give you a clue. It's up on the board. It's not a trick question. Cheetah, right? Do you know the second fastest animal in the world? It's the cheetah's prey. The second fastest animal in the fucking world is the cheetah's prey. Is that an accident? Is that just some spring of luck? No. It's because that motherfucker's environment, he has to run from the fastest animal in the world. So over time in evolution, he's had to build that muscle to be fast as fuck, to get away from the fastest animal in the world. That's environment. That's environment. So if you curate your environment, then you can be pulled just by the momentum and the magnetism of the people around you. And you can evolve into that. That's why my circle's small. You got to add value. You got to push me. And I got to help push you. Because I know how important environment is. If I make a stupid purchase, I walk in and be like, hey, y'all, look at what I got. My friends be like, what's the numbers on that? Was that an intelligent choice? Because environment matters. I care about what they think. Environment matters. So I'm not even going to call it a hack. You curate environments that set you up. Who are you in love relationships with? You just picking the ones you physically attracted to? But environmentally toxic to you? And now you can't understand why you can't move forward, because you're battling an uphill battle emotionally, which drains and pulls at your bandwidth, and now you can't move. Curate that environment. Gotta curate that shit. Who are your friends? Are they just calling you to gossip? Or be like, all right, I need to vent. And they venting for 2 hours and draining all the energy away. Curate your environment. You got victim mentality people around you. Man, it's their fault. It's their fault. Man, it's their draining. Get them motherfuckers out of your space. Get them out your space. Curate your environment. I don't want to hear that shit. Sometimes we do need to vent. But how often are you being vented to? Damn. Every phone call is either gossip or vent. So you pick up the phone, you hear gossip and vent, put it down. You pick up the phone again, it's blame. playing a blame game, so your day is filled with toxic behavior. Your environment's not curated. So always remember this. The cheetah is the fastest animal in the world. The second fastest animal in the world is the cheetah's prey. So if you want to be pushed towards your goals, create an environment that curates that with you. It'll make it easier. Any questions on that? Next slide.
The most dangerous thing is a threatened ego.
The most dangerous thing is a threatened ego. This is another straight killer, you know. Our community is built currently around respect. It's built around respect. That's our currency, respect. And it's such a low currency, we're willing to do extreme things to protect something low currency. Cheap currency. If it was on the fucking stock exchange, it'd be like 15 cents a share type shit. But we'll go through great lengths, risk it all for a 15 cents a share currency. And a lot of that has to do with our ego being threatened, disrespected me. But you know what a lot of times this is? Ignorance. The perception of our threatened ego a lot of times is ignorance. It's us not having enough understanding and context about the situation. But we jump to conclusions and make assumptions about what the other person was doing, and now we react. A lot of times it wasn't even about that. So there's certain people that said, if this has ever been you, it's been me too. I'm going to show you one day. Or I ain't going to ever forget that. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. Like, be careful. Be careful. Because you don't want to build your business with the prove the haters wrong philosophy. That's whack as fuck. It's weak. Not saying that it can't get you certain levels. It's empty. It's empty. Because more than likely the haters have moved on to something else. They ain't thinking about your ass. Or they wasn't thinking about you in the first place. And it's empty calories. True purpose is what you want to move with. But this is one excerpt from the book about when your ego is threatened, a person is most dangerous. They don't even want, like, you bruise their ego. But this is more about being observant about yourself. When you feel that feeling in yourself, let's practice that discipline, taking deep breaths. Let's practice that discipline and asking ourselves, what is the best thing to say? You say, hey, boy, go. You watch that one dude who goes inside the grocery stores and be like, hey, boy, can you grab that thing for me, boy? You look pretty. You're pretty for a black girl. You're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. You people, like, can you take that breath? Discipline. Can you take a breath? Think from a perspective of, if I react, then what? So that's our practice. Next slide. I'm gonna try to make it through because the last piece is important.
Run Your Own Race, Volume 2.
Okay. Again, just I'm gonna tap this a little bit. Run your own race. Run your own race. Your makeup is so completely different than the next person's makeup. It's almost impossible, virtually impossible, to mimic what another person's doing. You would have to be identical in what they've experienced, where they are, what their resources are, who they know, intelligence levels, practice, all that. So why the fuck would you not want to run your own race? It's insanity. And no one knows where you are. Like, you don't even know where you are in life. If you're down, in the middle, up, you don't even know. So stop giving a fuck about what you look like in comparison to the next person. Stop counting other people's pockets. Stop counting other people's money. Stop. Get out their stuff. Most of the time, your stuff is fucked up right now. And the only person that can help you is you. So you're so busy looking over at the next person's pockets that you're allowing shit to fall through your hands. And you're comparing yourself to the next person. You don't have the resources that the next person have. You don't have the time. Run your own race. Just run your own race. Where are you relative to where you were yesterday? That's all you got to think about. Where are you relative to where you were yesterday? I don't give a fuck what I look like sometimes. I don't care. I know where I'm going. I know where I've been. I know what I've learned. I know. Somebody the other day was like, "Yeah, man, so and so he's what did he say? He's trying to catch up to you or something like that. He envies you. He's trying to catch up to you." I said, "How old is this dude?" I was like, he's never going to catch up to me. Not because there's something wrong with him. It's because he's trying to catch up to me and not running his own race. It's too late. I've already ran my race. I've already been running my race. When he was born, I was a millionaire already and lost it. I've made more money and lost it before bro was even born. It's too late. It's too late. So that's my point. You have a path. You have a path. And it's not a specific version of what things have to be. It's your path. Fucking if you become a multimillionaire by 30 and you become one by 40 and you 50 and you 60, that's all your own race. Compare yourself to the next person. Your experience, what you've been through, the industry that you're in, all of that shit matters. Look at the time put in. Run your own race. Doesn't mean you don't run your fucking ass off. You run your ass off. You run the best race you can possibly run. You give it everything you got. You a sucker if you don't. That's the comparison. Did you give it oh, was you too cool? Oh, you was too cool. You was trotting. You was looking at the crowd, waving. You didn't want to sweat. You wanted everybody to see your gear. You wanted to run cool. And then you can't understand why you ain't got shit. Run your ass off though. Feel some type of way if you didn't run your ass off, but make it your own race. Next slide. All right, this is where I was trying to get to.
When you find yourself corrupted by the things you wish to serve.
All right. Next slide.
A story of mission drift. Phase 1. The idealist. Intentions. A young recruit joins the police force filled with purpose. I want to protect my neighborhood. I want to stop injustice. I want to make my community safer. Mindset. Hopeful, service-driven, believing in change from within. Community connection. They know the people. They walk the blocks. They care deeply. If more people like me joined, maybe we could fix this system from the inside.
Okay, so this is a story of mission drift. So this particular cop starts off as an idealist, good heart, wants to serve the community, wants to give back, right? Next slide.
Phase 2. The realization. First fracture. They witness misconduct. Maybe a partner uses unnecessary force or a supervisor handles a situation with intimidation. Response. They raise questions and get shut down. That's just how it is. Warning signs. Quiet retaliation, isolation, pressure to conform. Play the game or you'll get pushed out.
Yeah, and also maybe they also experienced a near-death situation. Maybe they had to get aggressive with somebody. They got in a fearful situation to where, damn, there's a realization here. My original idealist mentality just got threatened in this phase 2. Next slide.
Phase 3, the rationalizer. Emotional shift. Frustration builds. They start seeing the public less as people and more as problems. Team pressure. Loyalty to the blue family becomes a higher value than justice. Mental justifications. You don't understand what it's like out here. They don't respect us. Why should we go easy on them? If I don't handle it, someone else will, worse. I'm still doing good, just different.
See the shift happening? Next slide.
Phase 4, the enforcer. Behavior. Now they're the one giving the cold stare, the one who doesn't flinch during aggressive arrests. Language. Community members are perps. Everyone is a potential threat. Actions. They stop questioning directives and start enforcing them, even if they conflict with their original value. It's not personal, it's protocol.
Last one.
Phase 5, the machine. Outcome. The system has won. The person who once joined to reform it now upholds it without question. The mirror moment. If they ever looked back, it had to see when the shift happened. It wasn't a big moment. It was 1,000 little ones. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Ooh.
So let's go one more slide.
Teaching reflection. How this applies to entrepreneurs. Just like the officer, you may start your business to uplift but end up exploiting. You may promise to build access, but end up building gates. You may serve your people, but slowly swap that for serving your ego. The lesson: corruption is rarely dramatic, it's incremental.
Hence, the need for discipline. The need for discipline. The discipline says, I feel this, but I'm going to do this. Discipline says, I feel this, but I'm going to do this. Environment says, I feel this, and my heuristics are going here, but I'm going to curate this environment that can put me in positions to regulate my thinking. See what I'm saying? It's incremental. It's not dramatic. That drift is in tiny situations at a time, to where over time you look back and you're like, man, fuck them. Fuck these people. Entrepreneurship, you're coming in to serve. I want to serve this group of people. Next thing you know, you come in, you got tops off the hot sauce. You don't trust them. Next thing you know, you got security guards and you got all these rules in place because of the reactionary of being hurt, to the point to where now you don't even like your own people. You don't even like your own people no more. I don't fuck with black people. Damn. It's the same thing here. This is what happened. I don't fuck with black people. Damn. It happens incrementally. And now that's coming out your mouth with ease, with fucking ease. It's nothing to say that. Like, you do? Well, you been living under a rock somewhere? No, it's because this same thing, the people you seek to serve, hurts you. And you didn't have an environment to curate and regulate and put you back online. If I go to my partners and be like, man, fuck, this is what happened in entrepreneurship, boom, boom, boom. And they'd be like, it's about normal. It's about normal. That's regulation. It's about right. People say, I'm going through this isn't entrepreneurship. Oh shit, okay, you right on target. What? You right on track. I just lost everything. Cool. Now you becoming a real entrepreneur. like then it puts shit in perspective. That's why it was so important to have your environment. If not, then you're isolated on this island. You're gonna drift away in your own consciousness and your own ideas and your own ideologies. And nobody's strong enough to resist that. Nobody. I don't give a fuck who they are. You need your tribe. You need your people to be able to bounce ideas off and keep you on track, especially in this entrepreneurship game. Because if you lose yourself, you don't know where north and south is sometimes. That's why you got to have your tribe. You got to have your environment. Be able to like, nah, get back over here. Nope, you good. Any questions on that? No questions on the basics. All right.
You know what? Let me say this real quick. You know, often I tell people to have their tribe, and it feels like the trauma of wanting to be the hero of their own story overrides desire to build a group. You know what I mean? Like, it's not in your brain. Your brain doesn't have the capability to totally see yourself. Nobody in this room can see themselves. Yet, you go at it alone. Like, how's that possible, right? And then we take people who can structure words and wrap ideas in neat packages and show it with kind dignity to represent like this knowledge space when it doesn't really work like that. Matter of fact, a lot of times knowledge is unpolished. And so you're constantly while you're alone, you're thinking, because I read these books and they articulate things really, really well. They're providing insights. And they may be giving you knowledge. And that's, matter of fact, tonight's class is going to be covering, it's going to pick up where you left off. But nothing can substitute your circle, your environment. I was talking to somebody in class recently, and they said, none of this entrepreneurship shit is hard. And I said, no, that's a framing problem. They said, what? I said, it's a framing problem. Say, let me show you what I mean. I say, I'm willing to bet right now you hang around people who are not strong entrepreneurs. You hang around just the popular masses. He said, well, how do you know? I said, well, because if you hung around entrepreneurs, they will reframe your reality. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're trying to lose weight, but all your friends are restaurant goers. They just love to go to restaurants. They love to eat. They love to pick a weight. They don't give a shit. They just want to eat. And you're trying to go to the gym every day. You're trying to have some structure. I'm going to the gym every day. And they can say this really simple thing like, you're going again a day? That's it. That just reframed and made things harder for you. They can say something like, okay, all right, well, we'll see you a little later. They didn't even discourage you. It's that animal to animal communication that's saying what you're doing is a hard sacrifice that's difficult for a human to sustain. They would imply that. So then you'll sit with me and go, it's so hard. But if you're around entrepreneurs, you say you're around people who work out all the time. They're training for a competition or, Ironman or something like this. You're like, hey, I gotta work out 5 days. They'd be like, shit, I worked out 7. You'd be like, oh, damn, I thought I was doing something. And they reframed it. Now you feel like I need to step up. And all of a sudden the pain you felt yesterday that felt overwhelming, you can literally reframe it that fast and feel like, I gotta become stronger. I'm slacking, right? And so, but some of us want to stay between the two worlds. We want to stay between the world of status and popularity and entrepreneurism. It's not a thing. You almost have to surrender popularity for this other side. If you stay in the limelight of popularity, it's not that popularity is going to kill you. It's the principles that surround popularity. Another side note. Y'all know I've been on this the importance of family. But a lot of reflection because I've been watching people. And in this class, we said that we were going to address the impact of slavery, Jim Crow, and the crack era. One of the biggest impacts of crack era is created family distortion. Huge family distortion. Some of us don't even have the natural cue to respond to family cues that keeps the family strong because many of us were raised where we had no family. The whole infrastructure was fucked. Maybe daddy wasn't there. Maybe mama was kind of there, but maybe you were third consideration to their personal life and maybe their attraction or their drug addiction. Whatever it was, you weren't the primary focus of those two parents. So then you become adult and you don't even sense it. So now you're chasing your career and you're making all these decisions on what I want to do, but you have a kid, right? You're moving where you want to move, but you got family. Because you don't see the variables, you don't see the value of family. So, but trip on this is even colder. You ever been around pop culture people and they be like, oh my God, I love her. I love him. Oh my God. Or, hey girl, oh my God, you're fabulous. This is why I love you so much. Now, what's so sad is not only is that weird to me, how the fuck love somebody you don't know at all, thoroughly? But what's even sadder is the person on the other side who believes the person loves them. Isn't that some cold shit? Or, watch this. Man, I love me some Denzel Washington. How? How the fuck do you love Denzel Washington? Now, you enjoy Denzel Washington. You like him. But some of you guys treat family like they're actors. This is my family. Okay, see, family comes with rules, trade-offs, responsibilities, sacrifices. You don't get to be you once you have family. Family is a negotiation between you and family at all times. There's shit, you might say tomorrow, I'm going to do this. And family says, no, you're not. You're like, fuck, I can't do that. That's what I can't do. But some of us want to wear the logo of family on our shirt, but don't want to follow the rules of family. You remember when we were younger, and we're sitting around say we were younger and we were sitting around in the locker room. I said, I met this girl. One of the natural questions you would ask me, would you take her home to mom? To see if I'm serious or not. That was a rule. If I ain't serious, you don't meet my family. But now it's at a point right now that people don't know that family comes with rules, meaning that you don't get to bring everybody to your household. You don't get to spend money on what you want to spend money on. You don't get to go where you want to go. You don't get what you want to do. And some of y'all, here's where it's going to come back to entrepreneurship. Some of y'all use entrepreneurship to replace family. Cold game. I'm going to make all this money and then get there and be depressed as fuck because you don't have family. And let me say this real quick. Friends can become family, but friends are not family. Let me say this again. Friends can become family, but friends are not family. See, friends, especially job friends. I told my son this today. I said, the friends at your job have a hidden incentive called paycheck. And if you get in the way of their paycheck, friendship, it will instantly end no matter how funny you were the night before. Don't think, so he goes, well, the owner wouldn't do that to me because he knows me and he likes me. I say, see, there you go. You think he's family, huh? See, family says, I'm going to give you a chance and another chance. You're a prodigal son. As long as you show up a certain kind of way, I'll open the door. That's what family says. But a friend, shit, it might be one strike. It might be, I thought it was going to be a strike. And the door is closed. It's a different group of rules. But some of you guys say, oh, that's my family. Okay, so when that person calls you, going to show up? Or you're going to make those certain moves, certain decisions? Do you understand what that means? Do you understand the responsibility? .com culture. Go into your office and ask everybody, hey, who want to help me paint this weekend? Man, you want to see people get distracted with the keyboard? Family knows that's what we do sometimes. We show up and help the family paint that weekend. Family, and it's this thing where we're getting so superficial. We're not understanding that there's these hidden systems that exist between human beings. It's like this hidden connection we have, and it's underserved. And so I'm going back to course message. We're underserving relationships as business people. We're underserving things like family. We're underserving things like our children. And we don't realize when you underserve those things, those are more connected to what is this life all about? If you ask yourself a simple question, what is life like? Most of the people who are able to think about this is one of the gifts of death. Like if somebody in your family dies, they often make you a question, what is this life all about? And you realize that many of us have been chasing an empty story. You ever watch a child? I'm about to get into the lesson 1 second. You ever watch a child, somebody say to a child, and you live happily ever after? But no one ever says, what the fuck does that mean? And what do they have to do to get there? And how many people actually live happily ever after? You just automatically assume that. So you meet somebody you love and you go, we're going to live happily ever after. Taking no ownership of what the fuck that means. And I see the same thing with we say things like family and business and relationships and all this stuff, and we don't see the trade-offs. We don't realize the cost. We don't understand the level of responsibility. We don't understand the self-sacrificing. So I just want you guys to think about that, because pop culture is such a superficial, it's like TV talking to TV. It's a lot of substance is not there, no context, no thinking. A lot of times it's just going with the impulse and popular opinion. But a lot of us look at business, family, relationships, children through this very pop cultural lens. My last point is, there's a famous story where these two fish are swimming by each other, and one fish says, how's the water? And the other fish says, what is water? Many of us don't pay attention to the water we're swimming in. Some of us are born in certain groups of water that we don't realize that water is not is not clean, it's toxic. But you don't know it's toxic because it's been toxic for 20 years and you were born in the midst of it. You have to learn to see the water. You have to learn to question the water. Because a lot of your principles are just really popular assumptions. They're not thought or they're not processed. So we're going to start tonight. So real quick, just before we go to our first slide, please donate to Hope. We want to keep this going. We're working on a lot of changes for next year. We want to change kind of rhythms and paces, our rhythm and pace, and achieve some other goals. But make sure those of you are online or at home, or if you can, all donations to support this program. Me and Court don't really pay for this. We do this to reinvest and give it back to the community. All right, next slide, first slide. So the book before we want to get into is called Think Twice. Think Twice. I'm going to first start off by making a case that knowledge is not thinking. Reading is not thinking. Thinking is a process. Also, I'm going to make a case that, how many of you guys heard the famous phrase, knowledge is power? By itself. Okay, here's a case where you have to hold two opposites to be true. They're opposite ideas, but they're both true. Knowledge by itself is not power. Knowledge by itself is absolutely not power. Here's another philosophical, two separate things. Okay, let me ask you guys a question first. Have you ever seen those books? This is what you have to do to be an entrepreneur, or how to be rich, or how to be successful, or how to be a millionaire. You guys familiar with those books, right? I'm gonna share something with you that is you have to hold two separate truths together, but you have to think differently. Show you how thought works. Is it true that perseverance and hard work leads to success? Anybody want to speak up on that one? Yes or no? That's all you need is yes or no. Raise your hand for yeses. Okay, those who say no, raise your hand. Okay. Is it true, watch this, that if you wear a white shirt and a nice suit, you'd be successful in business? But should you wear a nice suit and a white shirt if you're successful in business? See where I'm going with this? Because if you assume that hard work and perseverance is required for success, then that suggests that you cannot be successful without hard work and perseverance. Cold-blooded, huh? But so what I'm saying is that a lot of these books say you have to have this skill to be successful. Yes, but does the skill make you successful? No. But do you have to have that skill to be successful? Yes. You see where I'm going with this? This is important. This is thinking. This is different than knowledge. Knowledge will tell you hard work and perseverance will make you successful. Thinking says, not always. Depends. And that's not the only variable of success. But is it important? Yes. You see how this, if you're not practicing the art of thinking, you're almost living in a space of linear thinking, very simplistic. Also, you may, for example, be over-leveraging certainty. Daniel Kahneman made a lot of money on writing books about how human beings respond to thinking in a space of uncertainty, how we fall victim to a lot of illusions, right? So this Thinking Twice book that we're about to dive into, I'm going to finish out the year with just one book. I'm going to take my time. I'm not rushing. I don't have no reason to rush this book. Because each chapter, each section is just full of thinking exercises and principles of thought that will allow us to capitalize and use our knowledge. Two, you're going to find out that no matter how knowledgeable you are, you still fall victim to thinking challenges. Otherwise, a magician would never work at a university. Right? Meaning that a magician takes advantage of our thinking distortions. And a lot of us who go into business or go into leadership, we don't develop thinking skills. I think we talked about this last week, but thought is at the core, is one of our core skills of developing ourselves as entrepreneurs, yet thought has almost been engineered out of popular society because most people are too busy, they rush to conclusions, or they engage in entertainment that doesn't express thinking. Media doesn't express thinking. Matter of fact, many of us confuse entertainers with thinkers. So you see somebody on TV giving you their opinion, they're entertainers. Stephen A. Smith is an entertainer. He's not a thinker. But it's so many people will sit there. Jon Stewart is an entertainer. He's not necessarily a thinker. But quite often we will entertain ourselves with and say, oh, this person's a wonderful thing. Even in the stock market, a lot of these guys who talk about stocks and market, I'm going to prove to you within a few, maybe this class, or maybe next class, a couple classes, that a lot of these guys who talk to you about stocks and bonds, they're entertainers, they're not thinkers. And once you learn to think, you're going to realize a lot of the stuff that's around you is entertaining you. They're not trying to help you think. Even in this class, we get the request all the time, can you entertain us more? Literally, can you entertain us? Are you not entertained? But the reality is that if I entertained you, even if I leave a little bit of truth in there, I'm not strengthening your ability to think. We have a lot of cultural challenges I'm going to highlight that stops us from thinking, that are anti-thinking, that are popular in our culture that we hear all the time. And tonight I'm going to attempt to challenge some of those. But I think for the next 6 months I'm going to challenge those. There's a lot. Now I'm going to be sensitive and I'm going to highlight how certain things served us but no longer serve us. But they have become a main staple in our culture to the point that we repeat these ideas over and over again at the expense of compromising our thinking. So, Shakina, you ready to jump into this? So we're gonna warm up with the first two slides, and I'm gonna slightly slow you down, but this is gonna tap into the first thing we have to accept in order for us to work on this thinking exercise. So let's get started.
If you ask people to offer adjectives they associate with good decision makers, words like intelligent and smart are generally at the top of the list.
Now, I don't know about you. I've never not heard this. Every time anywhere you are in society, the most popular things people say is great decision makers are smart or intelligent, right? Some of you guys have been oppressed by people telling you that, you're not as smart as me, as intelligent as me, so obviously you can't make the same kind of decisions I can make. Am I correct? If there's anybody that can say, nah, I've heard different, please share with me what circle you come from, and maybe that religion we need to hear more about. But in the United States, what we often highlight as the best decision makers are, let's not make this a Jewish moment, but often where there's actually some truth there though for Jewish. But anyway, we often highlight highly intelligent people, smart people. Keep going.
But history contains plenty of examples of intelligent people who made poor decisions with horrific consequences as the result of cognitive mistakes.
So, the smarter you are, the worse your decisions can be. Which is, again, real simple. The smarter you are, the worse your bad decisions can be. Go ahead.
No one wakes up thinking, I am going to make bad decisions today. Well, no. Yet we all make them.
You understand? Wait a minute. This is not that kind of class. Let's go. This is. I'm about to make this bad decision. No. Hey, I caught it. I was like, oops, I didn't think about that one. Go ahead.
What is particularly surprising is some of the biggest mistakes are made by people who are, by objective standards, very intelligent. Smart people make big, dumb, and consequential mistakes.
So I have a brother right now. He's had the same lifestyle since he graduated from college. His vocabulary was smoke mines. He's read books I haven't even had access to. This cat is smart as hell. He has not moved out the ghetto yet. He's 4 years older than me. He's so smart, he can articulate any of his desires and opinion to the point that those who sit across from him can't even challenge him. Even if the opinion and ideas are horribly dumb. He can make his depression seem like insight. He can make his poverty seem spiritual. Because he's so intelligent that he doesn't realize that his intelligence has weaponized itself to limit his growth. Let's go. Next slide.
Keith Stanovich, a psychologist at the University of Toronto, argues that the intelligence quotient,
Yeah.
quotient, tests we rely on to judge who is smart do not measure the essential raw materials for making quality decisions.
So, historically, that's not how we chose college students, by the way. It wasn't by IQ test. This is something that's relatively new in public society. And it's already proven that just because somebody has a high IQ test doesn't mean they will perform well in society. It's important to know this, because as we get into this, I'm showing you that this thing that we've over leveraged as being intelligent is not necessarily complete. It's not devaluing intelligence. It's not devaluing knowledge. It's saying making knowledge and intelligence the superior tool by itself is flawed. Keep going.
Although most people would say that the ability to think rationally is a clear sign of superior intellect, he writes, standard IQ tests devote no section to rational thinking.
Did y'all know that? IQ test doesn't devote time to rational thinking. Do you realize that, in all fairness, it's hard for education to really focus on thinking? Thinking takes time, a lot of time, a lot of conversations, a lot of process, a lot of breaking. Now, there are some universities who are known for having having leverage in the area of thinking, but thinking is a different tool, and once again, it takes a lot of time. Keep going. Oh, go ahead. You have something to say, Josh?
Yeah, I was going to say, when I was going to school for education before I got my other degree, the Kentucky State Board of Education's way of evaluating your ability to think on standardized tests was this. We're going to ask you a question, restate the question, give 3 reasons why you think what you think, and then phrase them all into a final paragraph and make sure that the graders can read it within 90 seconds. That's how they decided whether you were smart or not and how they would grade tests. And I think with most standardized testing for like the ACT and SAT, it's not designed to do you know the answer or try to figure out the answer. It's look at the options you have and choose the one that makes the most sense. That most of our education system is not founded upon teaching intelligence, but rather an old archaic idea of training people to work in factory assembly lines, and it never changed.
Yeah, education is no different than we are. It's evolving and it's growing like we're evolving and growing. If you go back 80 years in human history right now, education compared to 80 years ago is actually a gift to society, right? But it has continued, and I think right now with AI, we're going to see huge leaps because it can't stay the way it used to be, right? Things are already challenging the infrastructure, so it's gonna reinvent itself. So, and then it's not really this is not an anti-education because I believe in education, right? I'm not an anti. What I'm trying to highlight here is the distortion of thinking that knowledge by itself is enough, right? It's absolutely not. But let's keep rolling.
Mental flexibility, introspection, and the ability to properly calibrate evidence are at the core of rational thinking and are largely absent on IQ tests.
Great. Keep going.
Smart people make poor decisions because they have the same factory setting on their mental software as the rest of us. And that software isn't designed to cope with many of today's problems.
So let me. What the author is getting at is that our brain is victim to just natural human mistakes. We can't avoid them. We can't avoid them. And when you start thinking, what happens with some people that are pass many tests and do really well in school, they start to think that they don't share the same flaws as other human beings. We do. Whether you're highly educated or highly uneducated, we share some of the same distortions and flaws in thinking. How you think and knowledge are really two separate categories that you have to know how to engage. It's almost like saying, I'm going to eat healthy food, but I'm not going to lift weights. I'm not going to exercise. You may come down, or let's say you want to lift weights, but you want to run, but not lift weights, and wonder why you keep injuring yourself. It's this balance that I told somebody the other day. I said, if you sleep 8 hours a day, lower your stress, eat super healthy, go to the gym, cut out sugar in the daytime, but at nighttime eat cake and ice cream, 0 results. But some of us run around talking about how hard we work at the gym, how strong we are at the gym, and we're on track to die from a heart attack or diabetes, because we don't understand that this is an ecosystem of balance. And so we over leverage. The gym is parallel in my in the story to knowledge. You can work out really, really hard and be highly unsuccessful, and you're achieving a lot of goals in your life because you don't know how to think. And that's a big, 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 big difference. Keep going.
So our minds frequently want to see the world one way, the default, while a better way to see the world takes some mental effort.
Mm-hmm.
A simple example is an optical illusion. You perceive one image while the reality is something different.
Mm-hmm.
Stanovich and others, if you explain to intelligent people how they might go wrong with a problem before they decide, they do much better than if they solve the problem with no guidance.
So most people can't embrace uncertainty. Most people can't embrace randomness. Most people can't embrace patterns like even we talked about the eighth wonder of the world, compounding. People can't embrace that. These are these principles that you can know, but can you think within the restrictions of those limitations? Can you think within the restrictions of probability? Can you think in the restrictions of diversity? Has been so shrunk by popular culture. I hate popular culture sometimes because they reduced a very powerful tool called diversity. Meaning that I can put an idea out into the world and say everybody in this room, we're diverse, but we're not that diverse. And this idea, we can all have a consensus that we agree upon it, but once it goes into the world and it hits the true diversity, it can get to a point where it's highly destructive, even though to us it's highly effective. This is why a lot of times a generation will create an idea or create a product that is very innovative in their time and very destructive in the following generation, because diversity is so complex. And so when you're thinking, you have to think about all these different variables and randomness and like most people get caught up in binary dialogue, this or that. Most people can't think in the space of optionality, right? It's so many different variables. The ego, right? How the ego is always impacting our decision making. Arguing. Do you know how often when I call somebody to talk to them about their business, I gotta practice the routine of tiptoeing through the glass to have the fucking conversation with you? Because your ego's so fucking fragile. I gotta say, you're a great person and you're a beautiful person. I think you're great. I think you're wonderful. I think you're fabulous. I think you're just amazing. Okay, before I help you with your problem, I'm not shrinking you. I'm not reducing you. I'm not telling you you're not great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some information, but I promise you this is the fucking routine I have to go through because of the fragility that exists in our community. Can you think beyond that? Can you think beyond the fragility? Can you think beyond status? Can you think beyond belonging? These are things that human beings are still being impacted by that knowledge does not remove. And if you don't know how to develop these disciplines of thoughts, Course said something earlier, is that there's certain areas he knows he's not disciplined in, such as I. Thinking is knowing what those areas are and how to think around those areas, as opposed to maybe this time it doesn't apply to me, right? And so, in a sense, we're going to get into all these different principles of thought that's going to give us tools to navigate our human nature. You're human. You're limited by being a human. You don't get to exist out of the limitations of you. Like, for example, we don't get to make a 500-year plan and sit here and watch it through. First of all, I don't even think a 500-year plan makes any sense, which I'll get to that in a minute. Keep going. We finish that slide, we do the next one. Okay.
We're at the next one.
Okay, go ahead.
As shrewd business people know, one man's mistake is another's opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, the most rational thinker will win.
Rational thinker, not most knowledgeable person. It's key. The key word, because it's so easy to miss it, what he just said. The most rational thinker will win, not the most knowledgeable person will win. You get this very clear, because it's so easy to get slip up. You know, I was also going back to that little comment about, oh, I love you so much. You're my loved one. If you play basketball and you're coming out the tunnel, beginning of the game, championship, how many people are screaming and you in your city, how many people are screaming they love you? Oh my God, we love you. We love you so much. But let's say that game you score 3 points and y'all lose horribly. And it's the 7th game of the championship. And a new guy is being drafted in the same position as yours, and the team has a chance to get that person. Does the crowd say, no, 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 we love him? Or they say, bye, we want that person. But it's so easy for that player to leave that game and go, I'm so hurt. They told me they love me. You gotta know they don't love you. They love you, but they don't love you. They love you because their love for you is them projecting, not because they have a relationship with you. Right? But if you don't, this is thinking. If you don't know how to think in these spaces, you fall victim to all these emotional roller coasters that you're going through, ups and downs, and how you feel, how you angry, and how you mad, and how you don't like this, and how you feel oppressed, and how you feel depressed, and and really, it's, you don't know how to think yet. And you say, I read a lot of books, Donna. Yeah, but I'm gonna get into this in a second. Reading a lot of books is not thinking. I said in all the classes. Yeah, but you haven't learned how to think yet. And unfortunately, we can spark thought, but thought is a personal responsibility. It's not something that, isn't it crazy how adults say, the world's crazy and somebody needs to change it. I told my Mama Linda, which is like our adopted mom, I said, I hate when other adults ask other adults to save them when they can do it for themselves. I can't process it. We're the adults now. We're managing shit now. So if shit fails, it's not the hidden adults we can't see, it's us. Anyway, that's activist for So go ahead. Go ahead, Shakita. Where we at?
Most people do not find it natural to match ideas from their mental database to tricky situations in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Our brains are not wired for the process of moving from preparation to recognition. Mm-hmm. Indeed,
typically... Freeze right there. Preparation to recognition. Singing in class, reading a book is preparation. Recognition is engagement. You're not going to do that here. You're not going to do that here. Some of that's tied to experience. Some of us gather knowledge and think because we're gathering knowledge, we've processed knowledge. We're gathering without processing. Matter of fact, I will tell you this. Many of you guys are gathering knowledge to raise the value of your status. He said, what do I mean by this? So next time you're in the face of somebody that doesn't have the knowledge you have, you can't wait to echo your knowledge to them, but you never processed it. Does your life look like the knowledge you speak about? Or is the knowledge you speak about different than the life you live? Have you ever sat down and sat with this class and processed it and then try to put it into work and find out what worked and what didn't work and where your distortion kicked in or where your assumptions kind of interfered the process? And at the end of the day, you really didn't get the lesson. And so then you come back and say, hey, I tried this and it didn't translate. Or do you leave here and you share with other people and assume that you processed it? You didn't. And some of you guys are a sharing machine. You guys can share 5 books worth of knowledge, but haven't processed more than 3 pages. That's the cold game. See, thinking is the ability to transfer from accumulating to processing. And it's a process that happens between there where you develop ownership. And it's how you move, it's how you see the world, it's how you thinking, it's how you're able to say, hey, this smells fishy, let me slow down here. Because here's a situation where I normally would do this, but something's a little weird here, and my spiciness is going off. So let me slow down just a little bit and start using my thinking tools. Let me think twice about this. Matter of fact, when you say, give me a decision by tomorrow, I tell you, how about 3 days? I need a little more time. Or you realize, you know what? I think my emotions are going to disrupt my thinking here. Hey, Court, let me holler at you real quick. Hey, Charlize, let me talk to you a second. Or do you just say to yourself, no, I'm highly knowledgeable. I got 3 degrees. Celebrated by my peers. They call me doctor every time they call my name. Dr. Nada. So at this point, I'm sure I'm the one. This is, y'all think, and what's so cold is like I work with a lot of high-end clients. I can't begin to tell you the wall of knowledge I have to cut through just to help them out. And finally, it's almost like that dude who walks into a room hella buff and like, I'll knock a motherfucker out. And you're like, yo, can I talk to you? What the fuck you want to talk about? And you say one word, you I ain't never cried like this. That person was always there, but they got this shield up the whole time. And no one's able to help that person because they got this whole wall of, I need to be strong and tough and I don't listen to nobody. The problem is you're not aware of who you are. And knowledge is not taking this class and just hearing the things that come out of our mouth and reading these books. It requires an exercise of thought, and thought requires a lot of time. We won't get into what does that time look like in coming up lessons. But like, I engage in rituals by myself so I can just think. Then after I think, I engage in rituals to talk to people who are also heavy thinkers to share my thoughts so I can go back to think. Then I engage in processes to test my thoughts in the real world to develop ownership. And then from that point, I develop this process where I get humble to realize this shit is complex. It's not simple. I don't give a fuck if you can repeat the finest scientists walking this earth right now and repeat everything they've ever written. You're gonna realize the more you learn in this game, the more this shit gets complex, especially if you get to the point where you're learning to process your knowledge. All right, Shakira, let's keep going.
Indeed, typical decision makers allocate only 25% of their time thinking
Go ahead.
about the problem properly and learning from experience. Most spend their time gathering information, which feels like progress and appears diligent to supervisors. But
To superiors.
to superiors.
Yeah.
But information without context is falsely empowering.
So real quick. social media, shit, almost everything on television is information without context. Oh my God. Okay. I don't have any skin in the game when it comes to Puff Daddy. But I thought that when I kept hearing people communicating about Puff Daddy here and there, I realized nor did anyone else have any skin in the game or any context. The reason I thought this is one of the most impossible cases to try is because you can't see the context if you don't live that lifestyle. You can't. I grew up in high school where I went to school with groupies. And I watched groupie women with agencies say, hell with you squares, I'm going to chase that basketball player. And show back up at the school with a nice car and say, oh yeah, we rolling and we all sharing them. I've been at concerts and women are fighting to do whatever it takes just to get a touch of their entertainer. Then people who believe in marriage and traditional get to judge a person from that world. There's no context. And the questions that were being asked and the testimonies that were happening, they weren't bringing out the context. It was more or less like right, wrong, good, bad, and we're done with it. But that applies to everything racial-wise. So, for example, let's say you're a black person and experienced a horrible racist experience. Then you hear somebody says, I experienced the same experience. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Because you know what? Context separates it. But because we don't talk about context, we copy and paste everything that sounds like our scenario, and then these are how these big movements get started. Oh yeah, we all believe in this one thing. This movement has no context. None. So we're in a world where people are skipping context for content. So then what happens is, this is where, now watch this. I'm gonna show you how powerful this one paragraph was. You ever seen people debate and said, the scientist so-and-so said this. Well, university of this studies show this. Well, this person said that. The people arguing don't have any context at all. Do you know that sometimes scientists fall victim to cultural pressures, social contagions, egos, the same shit that you fall victim to? But once you put a name that has substance behind it or next to it, next to the concept and idea, thinking stops. And people are impressed because you did all the research and you're able to name 20 different sources of research. But 20 in a world of 8 billion that's been here for how many years? I don't know what that means. This is important because Mr. Firestone, the book I was reading here, Harvey Firestone was highlighting how when he was making tires, they told him that tires need to sit up for a certain amount of time and just cure. You just need to sit there and cure. He said, and at one point he's like, but why? And he asked around and people were like, no, this is the rule. It's how it's always been. So he said, tell you what, don't let them cure. Just process them. And let's just test it. And come to find out, it was zero difference. And then back then, this is back in 1910, roughly. He says, saved him millions of dollars back then. And the argument was, sometimes we just follow these traditions and we never even ask why. And the rule of the game was simplify. But you can't simplify if you don't think. Because if you don't think, all you're doing is you are a assumption hoarding machine. You hoard other people's assumptions and you act on other people's assumptions because you never thought. And assumptions exist everywhere. I'm talking about from the top universities down to the lowest level of the ghetto. Assumptions are everywhere. But people are lacking the ability to process thought. All right, can you keep going?
But information without context is falsely empowering.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not properly understand the challenges involved in your decision, the data will offer nothing to improve the accuracy of the decisions and may actually create misplaced confidence.
And that's where the problem happens, is that people often are using knowledge for confidence more than they're using knowledge to solve the problems. Even in business, a lot of times you're fighting for people to trust you, that you have the most knowledge. And so using your knowledge to gain trust to make the decision doesn't mean that you are actually best trained to make the decision. This is powerful shit. Now, in corporate America, you can get away with it because sometimes the group dynamics will override a lot of the individual flaws. In entrepreneurship, when you're at the head of that ship, you got to know when certain behavior has the possibility for huge distortions. Next slide.
Side note, the planning myth.
All right, give you a side note around planning. First of all, planning is the art of making guessing look pretty. Yet, if you don't plan, you're a fool. So, because this is so easy, you gotta learn how to hold these opposites. They have their place. Should you plan? Yes. But when you think when you slither your plan as a working plan, dangerous. A plan is to kind of give you a process of thinking out optionalities and possibilities, as opposed to plan being, because what happens when companies with plans, and when they do 5 or 10 year plans, me and Masham used to have this debate about why I hate plans. And one of the reasons I hate plans so much is because people start to work the plan to the point they stop seeing the customer, stop seeing the market, stop seeing competition. I gotta get this plan done. I came with a plan, I need to get this plan done. But the market's not signaling anymore to you the plan is valuable. But what happens is your brain gets caught in this distortion swap. And all of a sudden, the plan is more important than the figures and the data that's sitting over here on the side. You stop looking at the data because all you want to do is plan. You want to follow the plan. One. But let me show a deeper distortion that happens in our community. Because remember, this is a black entrepreneur program, so I'm going to take some time to talk about black people. I saw a group of brothers and sisters talking and said, white people planned that. They planned that. That's why it happened like that to us. Folks, planning don't work that goddamn well. If it did, shit, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be working on my plan. But what that has done to us is convince us that a plan has that much power, that by itself, it will achieve its goals. What a plan runs up against is diversity, randomness, uncertainty, volatility. Things are changing like this all over the place. Things are just moving all over the place. And a plan is trying to navigate through that process. So when you plan with millions of people, there's no perfect way to plan that. It's just a whole bunch of, so when they say, white man plan that, I think, what was it about? It was like the white man plan in the last 10 years to destroy the value of the black woman. I said, wait, what? It sounds good to us because you see the black woman become devalued. And that thing we were discussing that what's the team that just won the championship? Oklahoma. They were doing an interview and all their wives were white. And so they were having a discussion. See, they go, they planned the destruction of the black woman. But here's the problem is that when we go into business thinking all I need to do is plan, and then shit's going to unfold. And then when the plan doesn't go well, we take it as a hit to our ego. But I planned it, and it didn't work. Is there somebody out there trying to destroy me? Why did my plan not work? Am I stupid? Am I flawed? None of the above. A plan by itself is a hypothesis. And in that process of being a hypothesis, you have to continue to adjust that plan based upon the feedback you're receiving from the journey you're taking. And in that process, you may run up against things you just made a good decision on, but the process wasn't able to override. I mean, the outcome was not equal to the process. And I'll get into that in a little bit. So one of the biggest planning myths is that a perfect plan leads to a perfect outcome. No such thing. But yet, you should plan. Next slide. All right, Shakina's going to come back after she eat her chips. She's get her snack on. Mm-hmm.
And all this reading, be making me hungry.
I'm going to tell you, if you were fat, I would tell about 5 jokes right now. But I can't. You're just going to ruin my fat jokes. Go ahead.
Process or outcome?
Okay, here we go. This is where we're going to get to the process over outcome.
Which should you focus on?
Real quick before we go forward, which one do you think most people focus on, process or outcome?
Outcome.
Of course. Matter of fact, if I challenge you right now, if I challenge you right now, Charlize, and I said, this is a certain idea, you go, well, I think my idea is better. And let's say the group of us are watching us, and you guys are both on the fence, like, I don't really know, maybe Nala's right, maybe Charlize's right, I don't know. Charlize's right. But then Charlize's outcome wins. Do we still say, nah, Nana's still right, even though she won? Or do we say, blood, I told you? Think about that. How much of our knowledge is built on the outcome, not the process? Mm-hmm. It's part of our culture. The right versus wrong person, the person like to argue all the time, has so much flawed ass knowledge because all their knowledge is built upon outcome and none of it is built on process. So when I tell people, stop being right, stop arguing, it's because you're building false knowledge. You're developing poor thinking habits. You may be wrong 40%, 50% of the time and have the perfect process.
That's a basic.
That's a basis of gambling. If you play blackjack, and you watch me play blackjack, and at 18 I say hit me, was that a smart process? That was retarded. Excuse me for those who get sensitive. I'm sorry, I can't. Give me a call. Anyway, so it's absolutely. Give me a call. I'll fucking tell you. I'm over this. Anyway, so the reality is that the rule says anything above 17, you're done, right? But just because I won 2 times in a row after I said hit me after 18, what will show you through the rules if you watch the game over a certain amount of times, you'll realize I have lost more than I won if I continue to say hit me at the number 18. So even though I may lose because I didn't say hit me and the next number was a 3, the process was still good, but I still lost. But if I play that game over and over and over and over again, 7 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be a winner by sticking to the rules. Or it could be 5 times out of 10. So it's one of those things where, because you're playing a game of probability, and because sometimes wrong can win, and sometimes right can fail, it's more important to own the process over owning the outcome. But our whole dialogue in our community is we leverage outcome, we argue outcome, we fight over outcome. We say, see, I told you, I was here and I watched it for myself. And I'm telling you what I saw. You're right. But you saw an anomaly. You didn't see the process. You didn't see it 1,000 times played over and realize, oh shit, yeah, you win sometime, but that's a dumbass idea. If a man plays a lottery and puts on his favorite suit and goes through his rituals and he wins twice, does the suit even fucking matter? Then what the fuck you wearing that suit for? I want y'all just to trip on. This is flawed thinking that happens all the fucking time in our communities. I see it so much. I'm like, oh fuck. And I know I can't say anything because I'm always going to be the asshole. So I got to be like, I don't feel like being an asshole in your life. So fuck it. Just take this loss. I'm sorry. I promise you, because when I meet people, when I meet a person like Mashama, I go to Mashama anytime like Mashama's a bad idea. I feel no friction at all. But 9 times out of 10, I feel like, before I say something, I'm going to get this. What the fuck you talking to me about this for? Keep going.
3 factors determine the outcomes of your decision.
Mm-hmm.
How you think about the problem, your actions, and luck.
Ooh, so how you think about the problems, your actions, and luck. Remember I said earlier in this class, if you work hard and you persevere and you take risk, you're a risk taker, will you be successful?
Maybe.
Because I can show you a risk taker right now that filed bankruptcy. I can tell you hard worker, or I can tell you people that work really, really hard and they tired of that farm. Tired motherfucker, boy. They singing all kind of spirituals. Anyway, luck, can you see opportunities and take advantage of them? Can you see them? Or you just think hard work is going to get you there? Think reading more books going to get you there? You think just being disciplined by itself going to get you there? But you can't get none of those up, though. You see that? You can't drop none of those. But you gotta realize it's not enough. It's a combination. You don't get to say, I work out, I drink water, and I sleep really well. But my donuts and cookies, I don't know what they gotta do with weight loss. That's why you fat as fuck. 2 o'clock in the morning, cookies it's not the move, baby. Balance, baby. It's not one or the other. It's not a trade-off. This is a balance of systems. All right. We finish that slide?
No.
Okay, let's keep finish. Let's do work on that slide. Keep working on that slide. Go ahead.
Scott has a question.
Oh, go ahead, Scott.
More of a statement than a question, but to your point, one of the things that blew my mind was understanding, like, after making a decision, weighing how much was luck versus skill. Like, how much did I actually work on something and it was the skill I put into it? And then how much was pure fucking randomness if somebody was in a good mood that day or somebody just happened to show up at a certain time or, you know, the client like this or that or the third. People don't factor in how much really luck is a big thing in our everyday life.
Huge variable.
Like,
that's why probability is a game because you're trying to increase. All of us are hit by luck. All of us are hit by luck. All of us are hit by luck. But rarely do many of us are able to understand how that plays a critical role.
Randomness is so huge. We undervalue it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I had a really big shoot recently, and one of the memory cards was lost when it contained VIP photos for social media, and I panicked. And I used AI to recreate those images through off-camera video camera angles, and I thought I was going to lose the client, and I found out they didn't even care. Like, it was just straight luck. Yeah.
No, straight luck. Straight luck. Shit happens. You can do an amazing job, and the person hired you was really just looking for somebody to reinforce their point, and your amazing work doesn't even translate. Or you can do an average job, and the person had no understanding of what you're doing, and they thought you were phenomenal. And then if people frame you correctly, like, we don't realize the power of stories. Do you realize nobody watches basketball, baseball, football because of the sport? No one gives a fuck about the sport. If I start calling out plays in football, you'll say, what the fuck is that? But the story of football, oh, yeah. And you know the names of the team and the players because they fit the story. And this is why it's crazy to me when I watch players create these shows about the techniques of the game. I'm thinking, y'all talking to each other. Ain't nobody give a fuck about this shit, right? And if you don't think I'm bullshitting, if you don't think the power of stories, tell me why wrestling is a thing. Stories. Wrestling, if you ever watch wrestling and just turn the sound down, it looks horrible. That shit looks horrible. Like, no one does that when they get hit. You hit you one time. Don't do no shit like that. You hit me like that, it's going down, right? But then you watch it and you hear the story person, you turn the sound and be like, oh God, this storytelling is great. It makes crazy cash. There's motherfuckers in movies right now who are actors in sports. They tease what's the dude? What's the white kid's influencer who's boxing? What's his name?
Oh,
Jake. Was it
Jake Paul or
Jake Paul?
Yeah.
He's making a mockery of the sport. No, he's taking the story of boxing and making hell. Now you got to be able to stay in the ring for a minute, but he can just pay you. But like, look, don't hit me that hard. At the end of the day, if I could get that story going, I would make more money than a person who's training every day to be an expert fighter. Now, I'm not talking to the public, Kaja. I'm talking to you entrepreneurs. Understand the power of story.
Rick Rubin has this amazing take on wrestling. He said wrestling is the realest thing in media because everybody's in on the lie. He's like, we all know it's a lie, but we're there for the story. And that's what makes it the greatest.
That's it. All right, we finished that slide?
No.
Okay, keep going.
You can familiarize yourself with common mistakes, recognize the situations you're in, and take what appears to be the correct action. But luck, by definition, is beyond your control, even though it may determine the outcome, especially over the short term.
This is so important. So This is where envy becomes your enemy. So let's say alum she gets in the music in the industry and her career takes off. By default, somebody who has low skills will make a lot of money in the fashion industry. That's just the principle of life. And so foolish are you at home with envy. So foolish are you going to an event that's cost $1,000 to watch her speak because you didn't recognize that it's not her skill that got her there. It just happened to be luck. It doesn't mean that skill and talent doesn't have value, because alum could fall victim to a hype cycle because she hasn't developed her skills and talent, right? She can't keep the process going and capitalize on it. But quite often when you're watching, especially when you're poor or you haven't reached the goals you want to reach, try to suppress, ignore, turn down, and get rid of envy. It's trash because it makes you create false observations. False observations. Remember I told you a long time ago, observations, studying other people through observations is so flawed. There's so much you can't see. So much you can't see. I was listening to a discussion. I'm slowing it down because I don't give a shit. I'm going to slow this down because there's so much this strategy shit. I got to work on thought. I'm not going to move fast and hit these points, but I'm going to slow it down a little bit. We was listening to this piece about the guy who wrote the book about Elon Musk and the dude who ran Apple. What's his name? Steve Jobs. And he was saying, most a lot of very powerful people have a healthy relationship with their dark side. They have a heavy dark side. Elon Musk has this flaw that his father had where they will say some fucked up shit to you and don't remember they said it because of psychological damage they both been through. So when he's told Donald Trump, yeah, he's buying these files, and then came back next day and be like, I'm sorry. That's his psychological flaw. Did you know that his father would never told his father dogged him out, abused him, treated him like he was valueless, and his whole life, like, he had a really abusive life from his dad, and it messed him up. And then he watched his dad dog his mother, dog his family out, everything. And he's saying Elon Musk has a dark side that he's just learned to embrace, which allows him to soar. Now, remember we taught that 3 or 4 years ago that you have to embrace your dark side so your dark side doesn't rule you, but it also empowers you once you know how to embrace it. But sometimes we can't do that because why? It just doesn't feel right.
Shadow snacks.
Huh?
Shadow snacks.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. What little freaky term you came up with?
Book that
okay. Oh, that's okay. Okay. Right. All right. I'm sorry.
When they were talking about your shadow side.
That was
Calm
something
down.
we used in Hope.
Calm down, not too much.
So shadow snacks. You my little shadow snack.
Not too much.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Anyway. That's not what I meant. Okay, keep going. Let's go. Let's go to the next slide.
Shit.
Out here trying to recall these books. The intuitive answer is to focus on outcomes.
That's what we naturally want to do. We want to focus on the outcome. Go ahead.
Outcomes are objective and sort winners from losers.
Matter of fact, you will see companies that will say this to you all the time. So what did you do? What happened last time? And that's what we're going to go with. What? Keep going.
In many cases, those evaluating the decision believe that a favorable outcome is evidence of a good process. While persuasive, the mode of thinking...
Pervasive. While pervasive.
While pervasive, this mode of thinking is a really bad habit.
Mm-hmm.
Our most challenging decisions include an element of uncertainty, and at best, we can express possible outcomes as probabilities.
Read that one sentence one more time. That's the most important. This is a different way of thinking.
Our most challenging decisions include an element of uncertainty.
Freeze right there. Your decision is when you make a decision, hindsight communication fucks this up for everybody. See, I knew. And when I saw this, I said this. And then I decided this. And then we navigated this, and this is why we're here. Huh? That's why I'm successful. What they should have said was, when I saw this, I didn't know some of this shit. So I took an educated guess and I made this decision, and I accepted that uncertainty as a risk factor in my thinking. Now you see why it's hard for certain people who are at a certain level of entrepreneurship to argue? Because we don't know. We can't 100% be sure. Things in my mind can seem so conclusive in my mind to it once it hits the real world. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, I didn't, these other, oh shit, okay, the other variable, okay, other forces, oh my God, right? Meaning that I'm accepting that if I say tomorrow I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to the gym, and then I go to the gym, I'm gonna go to run and pick up my cleaner's clothes, and then I'm gonna go over here, pick up some stuff shopping, I'm gonna get on this plane and go here. You know how much shit can happen in between there to get fuck up all those plans? And at the last moment, I missed my plane. But you're in business planning as if that always gonna work align with your plan. Not realizing you can plan all that. So we have to, the first thing is, if you can master accepting uncertainty in your decision making, it will destroy your ability to argue. It will create, and it will increase your curiosity. And if you increase your curiosity, this is where your superpower will arrive. But you got to start saying, I feel like this, and based upon my evidence, this is the direction I think is going to work, but it's just nothing but a hypothesis. So when it goes wrong, you're automatically going back. It's like research and development. You're automatically going back to the drawing board and trying to figure out what went wrong and then adjust for the next decision. But when you treat decisions like acts of certainty, then it becomes personalized. You start wondering if you're smart or dumb. There's things like I have an 18-year-old in my house, and he'll do some shit that by my standards is dumb as fuck. But to his standards, it's the process. He has to go through that. So when he does the dumb shit, I don't say, yo, that's some stupid ass shit, yo. What the fuck you doing? No, my brain said that to me. I'm going to tell you, this is my dark side. My dark side said, what the fuck that dumb ass kid did? Boy, this son of yours is dumb as shit. But then when I start talking, I say, hey, listen, you're not flawed. You need to go through this. And if you make a mistake, even if I'm telling you what you need to do, you're not going to probably be able to do it because it kind of takes a minute to make this adjustment. You don't just pivot from here and go way over here and have the same level of ownership. So I'm going to give you this advice to help you start the journey with a little bit more confidence. But at this point, nothing's wrong with you. You made no mistakes, nor am I here to shame you. But that's not what my brain thought at first. My brain said, if I knew martial arts, I'd do a roundhouse and kick in your goddamn mouth for that dumbass shit. But guess what? I don't say that because at the end of the day, I know that's stupid. I know that's just my natural. Once again, my natural inkling, my natural impulse is to say this. But what needs to be said is that. You guys get on going with this? Because I move accepting that I'm moving, and I move accepting that I move in a space of uncertainty. I don't move with a sense of certainty, and if I know it, you should know it, and this is how the world works, and I don't understand why you don't get it. I think about this, okay? How many of you motherfuckers accepted the he, she, they, her? You know why that's crazy to me? Because you're telling me I need to be certain. How is that possible? Just measure my intent. If I say, how you doing, ma'am? And you believe you're they, I'm not in your family. I don't sit with you every day. How in the fuck I know you're they? It's not possible. But this whole idea to assume that that should be a possibility is a flaw of thinking. It's not attacking the person who wants to be called a they. It's when the person who's they get offended. It's crazy to me. Mm-hmm. It's okay for you to be, you can be a they. You can fucking say, I divorced gender. I'm an alien. Cool. I fucks with you. Especially if aliens outperform other people in a certain area, you're hired. Right? I don't give a shit. Right? But let me be very clear. You getting offended is a cost to yourself that you have to think about. Remember I told you that famous story when I on a plane and these two women were working, they look professors and they just writing their ass off with pencils, like, ooh, old school. They write. I mean, papers, writing. First of all, I'm never gonna do that. I'm gonna die and say I never will write like that unless some crazy shit happens. Like, to get your daughter out of jail, I gotta write a 4-page letter to the Indian president, and he only wants it handwritten on pencil and paper. But anyway, they're doing this shit. Shh. Right, and so I'm in admiration of discipline. Like, God, yeah, don't give me a notebook. You give me a fucking notebook. I swear to God, I didn't throw it back at James. James gave me a notebook for motherfucking Kwanzaa, and Susie gave it to me. I was like, a fucking notebook? Like, you used to be like, I was raised to be like grateful, thankful. Never let a person know. If they give you a rock, be like, yo, appreciate the rock. I don't know what it is. My brain I didn't have time to think, and I said, a fucking notebook. What the fuck am I doing? I don't use no goddamn notebook. Anybody want this notebook? Everybody's like, so now they teach me at the office, like, damn, love, you notebooks, huh? But okay. So, but I sat and I looked over to this lady and I was admiring her. I was like, wow, she's writing her ass off. That's impressive. That's so George Washington. So that's beautiful, right? I promise you, I just don't understand it. So I'm watching her. But I'm impressed because I love discipline. Anytime I see acts of discipline, I have admiration for it. So it came time to get up, and there's short women. They were like short. I don't want to say somebody because they'd be like, well, I'm that height. Well, fuck it. Just don't blame me. They short. So they were short. I stood up, and as a man, I could have just like, fuck this. I'm getting off the plane. I said, no, ladies first. I take it, but I'm not a lady.
Oh my.
That's flawed thinking, sweetheart. First of all, you're not diverse at all. Because you not realize that in my diverse group, in my age group, I say yes, ma'am, yes, sir to some people. In your age group, in your group, it's what is your pronoun before I talk to you? That's not my way of greeting people. And I'm cool with your way of greeting, is that you're not cool with my way of greeting people. This is the challenge I'm having with some of these ideas is that thinking is accepting this natural uncertainty. Now go to this next part. Keep going.
Further, we must make decisions even when the information is incomplete. When a decision involves probability, good decisions can lead to bad outcomes.
You want this one? The last sentence on this one?
I already read that.
Oh no, I said read it again. The last sentence.
Oh.
And at the best we can express.
And at the best, we can express the possible outcomes of probabilities.
So we can bet. So when things work out in your favor, the best way to express the outcomes are possible probabilities. This is why when you say, now, what should I do with my business? You understand I'm sharing probabilities with you. I'm not sharing actual. And let me say this too. Don't use the word probabilities like it's an engineering tool. This is where it bothers me. Use the word probabilities as your discomfort with certainty. You hear what I just said? Some of y'all would try to weaponize probability like it's a gambling tool. It's your discomfort with certainty. When people say, this is how it's going to work, my brain goes, yeah, it could. Not guaranteed. And if it doesn't, what's my next moves? What's all the options I have? So when the moment arrives, I'm prepared to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Not if A doesn't work, I'm just going to make it work. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to sacrifice my business. I'm going to spend all my money. I'll give up my relationships, whatever it takes. Boy, if you don't sit your ass down. Next slide.
Further, we must make decisions even when the information is incomplete.
So real quick, that's most decisions. Most decisions, information is incomplete. The person who's trying to develop complete information is actually a undercover procrastinator. I need to have all the details before I make my decision. Another reason to procrastinate, huh? Let me say something real quick. Social justice is fear culture gone wild. We learn to put the word safety, and it's really fear. It's the other side of these conversations. In decision making, you're gonna have to have a healthy relationship with fear, because you're gonna realize a lot of stuff is incomplete, and you still have to pull the trigger. Can you pull that trigger? Now, as you go through this book we're gonna go through, you're gonna realize your thinking is a problem, not your knowledge. And once you start working on developing your thinking, it'll give you more confidence to pull the trigger. And if it misses, you can go to sleep at night because you realize I developed the best hypothesis with what I knew. And I used all my resources correctly. But if you don't develop healthy thinking, you'll pull the trigger and you're taking psychological blows to the point that you're talking to psychologists and you're going to get spiritual comfort and you're sitting on heels and shit, eating like weird shit, and like you're doing all these weird things because in the end you're beating the fuck of yourself up because you feel like it should just work the way you plan. The world should just be this way, and you think the world sucks because it never works out the way you wanted to work because you haven't learned how to think. That's reality. Keep going.
When a decision involves probability, good decisions can lead to bad outcomes. And bad decisions can lead to good outcomes, at least for a while. In a probabilistic environment, you are better served by focusing on the process by which you make a decision than on the outcome.
Next slide.
If you make a good decision and suffer a poor outcome, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get ready to do it again.
That's the key word right there. So when you understand how to think and you get your process, you enrich your process. You'll take a loss and do it again. Take a loss and do it again. This is when me and Court used to say, if I lose my business tomorrow, I get it back, because we have trust in our process. But if all of our value was anchored on our outcomes, then when we fall, it would destroy you. It would, because you know why? It's personal. It's literally going to say, it's going to send a message to people who don't feel like they're good enough. I told you weren't good enough. I told you. Yeah, I told you you're a second-class citizen. I told you you're a descendant of slavery. There's a reason you was a slave. Like literally, it's a subtle message that will come because you don't realize the process is where the power is, not the outcome. And so when I make a bad decision and I take a loss, I shrug my shoulder and be like, all right, cool. What happened? Okay, cool. All right, let's do it again. Right? And there might be some tweaks in the process, or I might increase the optionality, but I don't go into it like as if the universe didn't want me to win. What was that book that people's, if you think about it, that just come true? What's that book? Huh? Yeah. What was the book called? Yeah, The Law of Attraction. Secret. Yeah, The Secret. If you just imagine it, it's going to come true. Sometimes it will. Sometimes it won't. Like literally. Doesn't mean, if you're from the streets, you're used to trying shit, not working, and try some new shit. Like, am I lying? Were you struggling? You'll try one little move, hustle move, don't work. All right, try this move, then try that move, then try this. And if that shit working until it doesn't work, then you go to the next one, right? Okay, that's elementary. But you got to be able to have that resilience in this thinking process, that the process is more important than the outcome. And stop defending the outcome and not being able to articulate the process. Next slide.
When evaluating other people's decisions,
Come on now.
you are again better served by looking at their decision-making process rather than on the outcome.
So most of these self-help books, all they tell you about is their outcomes. Very few. You love Steve Jobs. What was his processes? You tell me all his outcome. He built this. He built that. He went into the room. He said this. And everybody's like, oh my God. And they built this. They built that. They built this. This is why he's the greatest man. Was he the greatest man or was he crazy? Like literally, like y'all know why he died, right? He died because he had cancer, and he said, "You know what? I'm not." And it was a very treatable cancer. He said, "Nah, I'm gonna use all these natural herbal ways to treat it." And then when he decided to take the operation, it was too late. See, processes tells you more about people and lets you know where luck is part of the conversation, or is the strategy part of the conversation. Or are you romanticizing their outcomes? Do you love my money more than you love me? You understand me? I'm sorry, I just had a flashback. My youth came back. You understand me?
I mean, you know the rules of the game.
You understand me? So a lot of these books we're reading, we're romanticizing, we're worshiping people. Black people, let me tell you, we worship people too much. Some of y'all Christians have said, don't put no other God before me. Y'all put men in front of God all the time. The white man. He ain't gonna let us. They told us. That's worshiping. This person's successful and they told worshiping. They got this degree, worshiping. He's ahead of, stop fucking worshiping. Because you're not gonna gain from the worship. It's a silly ass intelligent ritual. A lot of intelligent people talk about, Go to a university and not when they're doing their thing. I'm talking about at a party and watch the worship start. You ever talk to this guy over here? Yeah, he's the head of worship. The government is just, these people out here just worship. Go back to what Court said. It's just gravity. That's the gravity of life. But you turn gravity of life into worship opportunities. Cold shit. Next slide. So next, this is the next up. We paused that one. We're going to squeeze a little bit of this last one in. We probably won't get through this one. Go back. Nobody asked you. What's wrong? Huh? No. We're probably not gonna get through this. Pause on you. We're not gonna get through this. But now we're going to another. This is another thinking exercise. Court actually mentioned this one this evening. But it's way. That's why I was like, Court taught a lot of very important lessons. And I'm gonna slow down because I feel like sometimes we're teaching and we're dropping all these nuclear bombs on top of you, all you see is explosions. You're like, it's just a whole bunch of explosions. Like, shit just blowing up around here. Like, but you see that kind of bomb? I don't know. Shit just blew up. And so the end is like, when it comes time for you to like build your own plane and drop a bomb, you don't know shit about dropping a plum. All you remember is shit was just blowing up. So I want to slow this down and take some time. So the outside view is the next concept. We got so many thinking exercises or principles we want to engage. So let's get into the outside view. So let's start off with the inside. What is the inside view? Go ahead, Shakina.
An inside view considers a problem by focusing on the specific tasks and by using information that is close at hand, and makes predictions based on that narrow and unique set of inputs. These inputs may include anecdotal evidence and
fallacious. That's flawed beliefs.
Fallacious perceptions. This is the approach that most people use in the building models of the future and is indeed common for all forms of planning.
Okay. In all environments, this happens, especially when you sit with your peers and there's a lot of internal respect. You develop inside view. Most of the things that if anybody grew up in a black community, we've been victimized by inside view all over the place. The whole George Floyd reaction was an inside view delivered to us that did not serve us because they didn't consider the outside view. Let's go to the next one. Outside. Now this is the outside view.
The outside view asks if there are similar situations that can provide a statistical basis for making a decision.
So remember when Court said, so what did you go through? What happened to you when that happened? They said, oh, blood was just this. That's an outside view. Or how often, like for example, when I was listening to Puff Daddy's case, and the outside view is that court has a 95% conviction rate. So all the chatter people, this is going to be this, that's 95% conviction rate. It's not in your favor, right? But your brain won't see those variables, right? You won't see certain variables, nor will you be able to adjust in decision making because you're developing inside view. Mama Linda talked to me about this today. She said when she was younger, a lesson that she learned was a group of people had motivated her to go up and clean up this area. This is back, 70s. Go clean this area up. And it was glass and, it was like a ghetto area, clean it up. And she said the next day she went out there and glass was back. And she realized that was a lesson. And what that was inside view, considering making a decision and not seeing the complexity of the outside view. Big difference. And so a lot of times, and here's the thing with inside view. Inside view can sound so intelligent. I don't know if you've ever been in a room and watched people articulate their points to the point that if a very intelligent person like my brother starts to speak, we all be like, that seems brilliant. I didn't think about it that way. Oh my God, that's what we have to do. And they will even, I've been around people who have spent millions of dollars for inside views and never, ever, ever. Most of you guys are starting your business today on inside view. You have never sat down and said, get outside view. Somebody, I've seen people sit in this class say, I'm starting a clothing business. Won't even talk to that man. I asked him, who you talking to? I remember these one group of brothers who started a t-shirt line in athletics. And every time I talked to them, they would tell me about the meetings they had amongst their peers and why their idea was amazing. And I would say, nothing about your idea is amazing. No, you just don't. This, I said, so then I hit them with the, okay, I'll see if I can crack this inside view flawed thinking. I said, how many have you sold? Oh, we went through hundreds. I said, oh, how much you selling for? Well, we actually gave them away, but it ain't the point. He said, give away. And I said, so you never sold any? No, because, we feel inside view. Inside view can, if you ever argue with somebody, this is why arguing is so flawed. Everybody can find evidence. Everybody can find evidence. Everybody can find evidence. I watched this conservative argue this gay guy around gay marriage. Dumb argument. Totally dumb. I don't understand this argument. But it was one thing I thought was interesting in watching this argument was the gay guy said this certain group of Indians, the Mayan Indians have this practice, and the guy goes, what's the name of the practice and what's the percentage of people who actually participate? He goes, it doesn't matter. They just have this practice. And he started to quote this Mayan. And so when the guy started to asking questions about the Mayan argument, he had no ownership of the Mayan argument. I mean, that people can make arguments sound even strong through charisma. That's why arguing feels so fucking stupid sometimes. It's like, I don't know where the fuck we going with this. But quite often, the inside view versus the outside view is a natural, cultural, group, human flaw. And it's so natural, especially when somebody's trying to prove themselves. Let's say you didn't achieve what you think people thought you should have achieved. You'll become a great victim of inside view. If you feel like you're not good enough, you become a victim of inside view. Because you know why? Because what's lurking behind that is I got to be the hero of my story. You understand that we sell more products to the customers because most customers want to be the hero of their story. So you go into entrepreneurship trying to be a hero, and you can become a victim of the inside view. Finish this outside view reading real quick.
The outside view is an unnatural way to think, precisely because it forces people to set aside all their cherished information they have gathered.
That means all your knowledge, all your education, all your work experience, all your spiritual experience, all your family experience, all your relationship experience. I'm a mama. I know. Inside view. I've been in a relationship with this man 20 years. I understand what relationships and marriages. Inside view. I cater these events. Inside view. I run my own restaurant. Inside view. That's not an argument, people. But these are arguments that most of us stop even talking, stop engaging, shut down curiosity, and feel self-righteous behind these inside arguments when that's not a thing. So let's ask these three questions. I want you to read these three questions. And I want you guys to think about these three. Just don't analyze them, feel your impulse.
I am an above average driver. I have an above average ability to judge humor. My professional performance places me in the top half of my organization.
How many of you guys felt at least one of those? It's true. How many of you guys felt two of those is at least true? Be real. Yes. How many of you guys think you are the best judge of humor? Like at least better than average? And here's the thing. Some of y'all are being guarded, but how many of you guys have recommended a comedy show to somebody?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody have never recommended a comedy show to anybody? Because in order for you to recommend, that means you have to assume you know good humor. We don't want nothing you recommend. How many of you guys have been in your industry and thought you're above average, the average level of your industry? If you don't, why are you there? Next slide. Yeah, some of you, what's so funny? I know it's a trick question, but it's like I need y'all to feel the impulse because it's not about you being right or versus wrong. It's not about you being embarrassed. It's about you becoming more in tune with your impulse, because your impulse is fucking you over, not your critical thinking. See, if you think twice and you practice critical thinking, you can get around all your impulses. But most of the time, most of your decisions are driven by impulses. And God forbid, when you have that impulse, you happen to have a human being next to you that reinforces that impulse, that turns it into a thought. It starts to put words around it. And now you guys are articulating an impulse. And that shit is so far from a thought, it's ridiculous. This is shit. When y'all see me say I hate pop culture, that shit is just impulses going wild. That shit is ridiculously bad. It is so bad. Like, when I'm around pop people and I watch them talk, like, you know, you've been there and somebody walks in like, oh my God, you're looking fabulous. Look at you. Oh my God, where you been? Oh, I miss you. I love you so much. And everything that follows that conversation is like cutting through my brain and pulling my heart out and stomping on it. And then it just sounds so irritating to my soul because guess what? There's no substance there. And yet, somebody will actually get offended, be like, oh, you didn't say anything about my shoes. That's why I can't stand that bitch. What? She didn't say anything to you anyway. It was all superficial. All right, let's get this next slide.
Okay. Why do people tend to embrace the inside view? Most of us are unduly optimistic.
Oh, this is going to get crazy. So most of us are unduly optimistic. So just real quick. You happy, optimistic, I believe I'm going to be successful, I know this is going to work, you're fucked. Unduly optimistic.
Okay. Cool.
The key word is unduly. And trust me, you won't know that. You need the outside person to help you see it. You might think, oh, I think I'm better than most. I think I'm average. Remember those 3 questions? You need somebody around you to be like, nah, you're a little bit over optimistic. Keep going.
Optimistic a good deal of the time. Social psychologists distinguish 3 illusions that lead people to the inside view. Remarkably, the least capable people often have the largest gaps between what they think they can do and what they actually achieve.
So that means that the least talented people think they're tighter than they have the biggest gap between how good they are. The least talented people. The more talented you are, the smaller the gap. Or what you think you can do. The least talented people think they should be president. Cold game, isn't it? This is a natural flaw of human beings. This is human shit. Nobody's room escapes this. That's why, like, if you say, this doesn't apply to me, you need the help. If you can hear my voice right now, you need the help. Go ahead.
It's kind of funny that you say that, because that gig I told you about where I had that luck, the weakest photographer that I had hired thought he killed it. And he shot an event on an 85 millimeter lens, and it was a long distance. And then here I am thinking I absolutely failed because I didn't have these photos, and the coordinator tells me they don't even care because everything else is so good. And I was just like everything that I had shot prior to that. So it was just kind of funny how, like, I had thought I had sucked and they thought it was good, and the guy thought he was great actually sucked.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I first met you. Remember what you told me?
I'm better than you.
Yeah, he told me the first.
It was a long time
Josh
ago.
was not even professional
I'm a
yet.
new man.
Turn his mic off. Josh was not even professional yet. Josh was rookie as shit. Wasn't good. Walked in my class when I used to teach photography a long time ago. Sat down in front of me, in front of my whole class, and says, "Well, I think I'm better than you." And I looked at this work and I was like, "This is, those versions of me." This work like, "This is trash. What the fuck you got? This is trash."
Can you practice the art of shutting the fuck up?
Yeah, that is. Y'all don't know the old version of me. I was kind of like microphone's off. Anyway, let's keep going. Go ahead.
I ain't gonna lie, I miss that version sometimes. In one study, researchers asked subjects to rate their perceived ability and likely success on a grammar test. Mm-hmm. Figure 1-1 shows that the poorest performers dramatically overstated their ability, thinking that they would be in the next to highest quartile. They turned in results in the bottom quartile. Furthermore, even when individuals do acknowledge that they are below average, they tend to dismiss their shortcomings as inconsequential.
Let's stop, pause right there. That's a large part of our community. Even though you may find you're under talented or you're underdeveloped, you're dismissed as inconsequential. Inconsequential, yeah, inconsequential. It's very easy to dismiss. Go ahead.
That paragraph reminded me of an experience with the incubator program that we did at our job. We created a storefront for vendors to come in and be able to practice running a brick and mortar under, offering benefits of free rent and all that. Within the first 2 weeks of it opening, the vendors that were in the marketplace were complaining they're not getting any customers in there. And we had to sit down and have a conversation with them about, well, where are your customers then? And they were saying, you're supposed to bring us customers. And so I had to regress because I snapped a little about it. Like, where did you get that assumption? We're giving you free space. That's the idea. But when we dissect the conversation, what we realize is you guys built this story of being successful businesses for 10 and 20 years because you've been working at events where customers are brought to you, 3,000, 30,000 people. Yes, you're making money on those. And they've gotten so confident in that environment that when they were put into a space where it's like, which they applied for, said, I'm ready for brick and mortar. I have experience. I've ran businesses before. All the arguments got humbled in that moment because it was like, you've never ran a brick and mortar where you are responsible for the customer engagement, the conversion coming through this door. All this now falls on you. And they had this, we both had assumptions. We assumed they were going to bring customers through the door. They assumed we were going to do the same for them. And what their idea was, this is like Target. People are just going to be coming. It's just going to be a revolving door of customers. And we had to rethink the program, but we already thought about, well, what are you going to do? Because if we're already offering these incentives and you're in here 8 hours a day, you have time to think about these things. But that was like the lesson learned of the storytelling on their side for, how they fluff their business, and then the actual reality of what it takes to actually build your own customer database. They had never actually done that for themselves. And some of them have been running businesses for well over decades.
So the whole incubator creation, initiation, and process is a victim of inside view. All of it was. Because then when there was never no assessment of what is required to be an entrepreneur, because it went through the channels of nonprofits. A nonprofit trying to teach businesses how to become profitable is funny as fuck to me. We're not even getting deep. I'll make that's just a red sign. That's just, God damn it, stop. Let's think and process that, right? So nonprofits receive money to create a system to create black entrepreneurs. The black entrepreneur who signs up for it is going to have a false assumption of their value and their skills and their knowledge. And then you have a false value of what it takes. That means hella shit ain't being said and hella shit ain't being delivered and everybody's being underserved. And then all of a sudden, big society says, all right, it's just a failure, we're done with it. There was never no inside marriage to say, yo, we gotta build this, we can't see that, we gotta own this, have these kind of conversations, we gotta hold people's hands. Running a business has these layers. Like, most people really think running a business is a self-help book. A self-help book is day 2. After that, you fucked. Read every self-help, I'm not lying. You read self-help, just do, just be, and you gotta feel, you gotta, yeah, but when that decision comes across that table and all money's online, you're gonna realize human shit kick in. Some old school human shit, be like, oh shit, I'm about to lose my money. You go from, I'm going to show you this famous ass martial art, taekwondo, scientifical, snake move to windmill. Straight up. That's the fuck happens, right? And so if you don't understand all these invisible principles, and if you sit in these rooms when they develop these incubator programs, that shit sounded brilliant. People were writing letters, we like, my God, what does this word mean? ChatGPT, what does that mean? Can you break this down for an 8th grader? Because I don't know what the fuck they just wrote. This is brilliant. And they bring titles into the room. They bring investors in the room. They bring all these. So then if somebody like me come along and be like, hey, this is not, you're not thinking through this. I'm the outside view. They'd be like, hey, no, we have doctor, professor, scientific investor. This person worked in Silicon Valley. And they said it works. I'm telling you, Nana, we don't need your shit over this. Oh, you come in with all that overthinking shit. In business, you need to be overthinking. You need to practice thinking. Thinking is if you're not thinking a lot, you're hustling. Let me keep this shit real. If you're not thinking a lot, you're fucking hustling. And let me show you how you can also avoid thinking. I'm busy. You say yes to so much shit, you can't think. The quality of your thinking, you think you're the thinker because you're under skill, but you have the biggest gap. You think you're the strongest thinker. You know, now I do a lot of thinking. I put a lot of hours in. How many hours you put in a week? Well, let me see. I did 10 minutes last week, and then I did 25 minutes a week before then. So, I mean, I got at least 2 hours this month. If you don't get the fuck away from me. The man said, people assume because I put 25% of my decision-making was thinking, they're underthinking. Did y'all hear that? He said 25% is underthinking. Remember the book I told you the other day? He said you can't be executive if you're so busy and you're not doing the thinking, then no one's running the company. Keep going.
The second is the illusion of optimism. Most people see their futures as brighter than that of others.
Whoa. Hear this phrase. This is so much fun. Read that sentence. Okay, tell me, I don't know about you, but I don't know if I can escape this one. I don't know if you can escape this one. Tell me if you can escape. If you can escape this one, just share with me real quickly how you escaped it. Read that sentence again.
Most people see their future as brighter than others.
The second is the illusion of optimism. Most people see their future as brighter than others. Does anybody not? Now, I know me and Court grew up in a world where 25 was our age limit. You made it past 25, you're OG. Because we thought you were going to die by 25. I don't know who the fuck made that up, how that rumor got started. But we was at that young age when we weren't thinking, we thought 25 was the limit. But when you're building a business or you're trying to run something or you're trying to grow something or you're investing your time, how many of you guys don't fall victim to my future is going to be brighter than others?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So, what do you think drives that thought? Is that like the big fish, small pond idea of like having a really small sample size, or is that just like being toxically optimistic?
It's when you're thinking of survival contradicts your thinking of scaling or building. Remember I said the natural desire of scaling is it's going to get better. When the scaling is more like a video game, the more you grow, the harder it's going to get. And the more traps you're going to have and the chances to get killed is even greater. Right? And so what the biggest distortion that a lot of people suffer from is that we're too optimistic, as if I'm going to grow. And if I get this one great sale, well, shit, you know what's next. And then you know what's next. And then once I get to a certain point, I'm going to have this. Right? That's how we almost talk about business. As opposed to, are we talking about the journey? Did y'all see the No King march? The No King when Trump had the march, right? How many of you guys have been on a Oakland march for get our streets and cities back or repair our streets? How many of you got called for that? Huh? But I'm saying, like, how popular is that? How many marches have you guys seen around the propositions in Oakland doing local voting? Huh? That's interesting, huh? But you see where I'm going with this? How optimism and how we think is out of alignment with what serves us. And so it's really easy to be over optimistic as opposed to being in business is like being at war. Just because I won the last war, I still can be killed tomorrow. I know that. So when I'm moving, I don't get comfortable. I don't never be like, shit, I've been winning all my wars. Look, it's me, baby. Who was the last time I won? If I hold this sword up, how many motherfuckers die? Huh? It's me, baby. And the kid shoots me in the back, I'm dead while I'm holding the sword. That's literally the game you're playing in business. And if you accept that, then you're always thinking about, it's too quiet. I'm getting too comfortable. I'm not comfortable. But if you're not used to business, and many of us even got into business with a fairy tale approach of, I'm going to live happily ever after. So it's over optimism, or you think, I'm going to blow shit up. It's me, baby. I'm about to be big in this world. Yeah. Maybe you're just going to be a server in this world. Maybe that's it for you. Go ahead. Oh, pass the microphone. Turn it on.
Does that intersect with disease of me? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
It's you gotta fight. Look, I'm not trying to tell you you shouldn't be human. I'm telling you when you start building, your human ways are gonna be fighting with you. And you gotta know how to like what I told you when I told the story about my son. I want to kick you in your mouth for some stupid shit you just said. But that ain't being a father. The other day, I'll give you another example. I came home and my daughter left her bike in the backyard. And I said to myself, God damn it, she don't get this bike stolen. I should just leave it out here and she gonna figure out she shouldn't leave the bike out here. I said, I ain't be the dad. Pick the bike up, put it in the garage and hang it up. Right? But my impulses was like, shit, you gonna learn today? No, there's sometimes that knowing what you feel and what you have to do. Those of you who are trying to articulate and master the support of your feelings are fucking yourself over. You got to know what you need to do outside of what you feel. And what you feel is not always a directive of what you should do. And it's so many of us have become masterful. We're living in a world where everybody's articulating their feelings. And do you know the city of Oakland voted that you got to use he, she, and they in the offices? They voted that shit in. That's part of your city law now. You work for the city of Oakland, you got to acknowledge my pronoun. I promise you I would have so much fun. I'm the motherfucker. So if you see me, you go, here go that motherfucker right there. It's we're putting our feelings in front of what we need to do. If you're in a relationship, are you in a family? Are you doing what you need to do over your fucking feelings? And I promise you, if you have kids, you don't feel everything. And it's like I wake up in the morning like, okay, I'm gonna go. No, I don't feel like doing that shit. I want to close the door and be like, y'all leave me the fuck alone. But that's not parenting. Parenting is a trade-off. Business is even worse. I don't feel like everything. Don't matter. Know what I articulated to you. You will never see me sit in front of you and be like, I don't feel like going to this business meeting. I just wish somebody else can go to this motherfucker. Now, I will, whether I go or not, that's an equation. But as far as me feeling like I don't want to go, or feeling like I don't want to do this, I feel like I'm looking at what should I do as opposed to what I feel like doing. And I'm always having that balance of conversation. And when I get to the point where if I'm constantly falling on the side of my feelings too much, I'm worried about what the fuck's going on with me. What's happening with me? I'm out of balance. If I start making all my decisions to just support my feelings, I'm out of balance. And I'm not saying your feelings don't have place, but some of us just over leverage our feelings over everything. Let's finish this. Did we finish this paragraph?
No.
Okay, let's finish paragraph.
For example, researchers asked college students to estimate their chances of having various good and bad experiences during their lives. The students judged themselves far more likely to have good experiences than their peers and far less likely to have bad experiences.
And most people go through life saying it shouldn't be that way. A lot of people are depressed going, this world sucks. You ever hear somebody go, this world sucks? Again, this world is perfectly imperfect. The world is perfectly imperfect, and so are you. Yet you're the only imperfect thing that wants things to be perfect. Your house, everybody's house right now, nobody's house that's listening to me is perfect. But in your brain, you can make it feel like it's perfect to you. It's just that simple. So in closing, We're gonna pick up more. We'll keep going down the strategy pipeline. I'm gonna challenge your thinking into the end of this year. But what I'm trying to do is improve your decision making, the ability to see opportunities, and your ability to capitalize on opportunities, the ability to take advantage of luck, the ability to take advantage of your skills, the ability to take advantage of your knowledge. But without thinking, none of those things can you actually take advantage of. Last, I close with this. Nuri Muhammad, Nation of Islam, he made this comment, something to think about, something to chew on. And it's kind of tied to something the court said. He said, Nuri Muhammad said, one of the reasons that a lot of men are weak in certain institutions. I don't want to get into the I don't want you guys to get stuck on the institution he was talking about, but we get certain institutions. He said because they're taught to cope, not conquer. I would argue that in our culture as a whole, we suffer from that. Most of us are just trying to cope. We're not trying to conquer. When you say conquer, some of you guys might get militant and think I'm talking about conquer white supremacy, conquer another nation. I'm saying conquer yourself. I'm saying conquer your challenges. Conquer your responsibilities. Conquer this life. This life has a lot of challenges that's going to require you to stretch yourself, push yourself, and go beyond yourself. And too many of us are so busy coping that we almost live a depressed rhythm. This life is, if you really want to maximize this life, it's about conquering. But it even makes me want to go slightly further, and I'm going to throw out a hypothesis that maybe you guys can come back next week and share your thoughts around this. I have this hypothesis that our so-called cool culture, gangster culture, player culture, pimping culture, macking culture, what's up, baby? How you doing? Right on. Is an act of coping. I watch it. I watch behavior. You know, there's an argument that says cool kids don't do well in school. Why? Are they conquering or are they coping? Just a thought. So a lot of this gangster shit that we embrace, the gangster I listen to hip hop, gangster hip hop. I listen to it every purple moon. I'm talking about that moon better turn purple. I can't take it. But I listen to when other people pass me by in their cars and windows are down. And I say to myself, is that music helping you cope or is it helping you conquer it? When you listen to somebody like Cardi B and tell you this ain't shit, fuck this and whatever, I don't give a shit, is that tone of conquering or coping? Smoke weed to get out of this shit because get on my nerves. Let me get my drink on. I gotta fuck all these chicks. Gotta fuck all these dudes. Are you coping or are you conquering? Just a thought. See y'all next week. Out.